A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to give you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. You get a call from an informant telling you that 3 known gangsters have moved into your city. You don't know who they are or why they're in Los Angeles. Your job, check them out. To sell a product, you have to make it good and keep it good. What do the latest reports show about Chesterfield? Well, our research laboratory has compared it with the leading cigarettes in the country. Chesterfield is highest in quality, low in nicotine. Another good reason why thousands of people are changing to Chesterfield every day. Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular or king size, you'll find Chesterfield really mild, really satisfying. Best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, August 4th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 9:42 a.m. when we got to the Osborne Turkish Bath. Steam room.
Hot, isn't it?
Yeah. Must be Dell back there.
Yeah.
Dell?
Yeah, who is it?
It's Friday and Smith.
Oh, I'll be right with you.
Okay.
Hey, Joe, did you ever have one of these?
One of what?
Turkish baths. You ever had one?
No, I never have.
I understand they're great for colds. You just sit there and it burns the germs right out. It's great.
You ever have one?
No, but Armin, my brother-in-law, he takes them all the time. Tells me about how it does for colds. Next time he has one, I think I'll go with him.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Hi. Sorry to keep you waiting. We've been having trouble with the boiler. Got to keep a close check on the steam pressure in here.
That's okay.
Let's get out of here, huh?
Well, it won't make me unhappy. It sure is hot, Dell.
Go on upstairs. We can talk there.
Okay. What do you got for us, Dell?
Might not go anyplace, but I thought I ought to fill you guys in on it.
Mm-hmm.
Fellow rolled in here last night. Must have been about 10:30. Nightman's out with a cold, so I had to fill in.
A cold?
Yeah, some kind of virus or something.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, we can talk in the office. Sit down. You mind if I go over some of these bills while we talk?
No, go ahead.
Well, this bimbo pulls in here last night, really carrying a load. I registered him and had Jimmy take him upstairs. Guy's kind of loud, rolling all over the place. I wanted to get him upstairs to a room, figuring he'd sack out, and we wouldn't hear no more from him.
No.
Well, he had a different idea. A couple minutes later, he comes downstairs, wants to know what's going on.
What do you mean?
Wants to know where the steam room is. Says he's not going to sit in a little room all night. He paid for a steam bath. That's what he wants.
Yeah.
When he starts to talk about his high-powered friends and this deal they're out to pull, I kind of figure there's something wrong.
He tell you who the friends were?
No, not right now. Just mentioned a guy named Bud. Kept talking how Bud was going to be sore at him because he got drunk. Must have said it 100 times, how Bud was going to be real sore. Sounded to me like this Bud is the big man in the deal.
I see. No idea what the deal is, though, huh?
No, most he said was that when they left town, they were all going to have a lot of money. More money than I'd ever seen.
You got the name on this guy?
Oh, here's the register here. Let's see. Hey, you can see right here. Vernon Carmichael, Los Angeles.
Didn't give an address, huh?
Once he mentioned he had to meet Bud at a hotel down on South Flower. Didn't say which one, though.
Well, Flower's a long street, Dell. That doesn't help much.
Didn't give you any ideas at all of what the deal was going to be, huh?
No, must be a good one, though.
Why do you say that?
Well, when I took him up to his room last night, I could see his clothes hanging on a chair.
Yeah.
On top of his coat, he had a shoulder holster. Looked like a .45 automatic in it. The way I look at it, the guy that's carrying that kind of muscle is figuring on scoring heavy.
Did you make any phone calls while he was here?
No.
Anybody had the room since he left?
No, I told the cleanup man to leave it alone. Figure you'd want to go over it.
It's a good idea. What time did he leave this morning?
Jimmy says it was about 7:30. I figured sure he'd sleep most of the morning. If I'd have known he was going to leave that early, I'd have called you last night.
Mm-hmm. Well, we better take a look at that room, Del. Might be able to come up with something that'll tell us who he is.
I got something else for you.
Yeah, what's that?
I mentioned this Carmichael to Jimmy last night. Told him that I thought there was something wrong.
Yeah?
The reason the guy left so early is that he got a call from somebody. Guess it's the guy that picked him up.
Did this Jimmy see who it was?
No, did the next best thing, though.
Yeah, what's that?
Got the license number of the car.
10:15 a.m. We got in touch with Leighton Prince, and Harlan Stahl sent a crew out to go over the room. Frank put in a call to the record bureau, and he had the name Vernon Carmichael checked. There was no record on anyone answering the description that we'd gotten from the manager of the Turkish Baths. In addition, a radiogram was sent to the Department of Motor Vehicles in Pennsylvania, asking for all available information on the owner of the car bearing the license number that we'd been given. 11:30 a.m. Harlan Stahl's crew finished checking the room, and they told us that they'd been able to lift a complete set of clean fingerprints from a water glass. They were photographed and classified. In checking our files, there was no record of the prints. They were forwarded to George Brereton up at Sacramento to CII and to the FBI in Washington, D.C. 2 days passed. On Friday, August 6th, we got the word from DMV in Pennsylvania that the car was registered to a Howard Nielsen. The radiogram also gave us a description of the car and the registered owner's address in Pittsburgh. On receipt of this information, we got in touch with the police department in Pittsburgh and found that Howard Bud Nielsen had a misdemeanor record. Late Friday afternoon, the kickback from Washington, D.C. arrived with the information that the fingerprints found in the room at the Turkish Bath were those of Vernon Carmichael. His record listed arrests for petty theft and robbery in Pennsylvania. He'd been brought to trial, but he'd been acquitted. Both men were well known to the police department in Pittsburgh as hoodlums. On Saturday morning, the mugshots of both Nielsen and Carmichael arrived. 10:15 a.m. We met with Lieutenant Jack Smyers, and we decided that the information, coupled with the records of the two men, made the incident worth investigation. The mugshots of the pair were copied, and a canvass of the hotels on South Flower Street was started in an attempt to find the residence of the suspects. The search went on for another 2 days without results. Monday, August 9th, 11:47 a.m., Frank and I got back to the office from communications.
You know, we're going to feel pretty silly if Carmichael and Nielsen are already back there.
Yeah, I know.
It's beginning to look like the tip from Dell about the hotel on Flower was off, huh?
Yeah. Still a lot of places to check, though.
Friday?
Yeah.
We got it for you.
What?
Carmichael and Nielsen. We found the hotel.
At 10:30 that morning, officers Murphy and Rafferty had gotten the first affirmative answer to their questions about the suspects. A room clerk in a small hotel at the corner of South Flower Street and Bunker Hill Avenue had recognized the mugshots of Carmichael and Nielsen. Further questioning brought out the name of the third man in the trio. He was identified as Ernest Hunter. A check of the name through our records netted us no new information on him, and the name and the description was forwarded again to Brereton up at CII in Sacramento and again to Pittsburgh for possible identification. In talks with Lieutenant Smyers and Chief of Detectives Thad Brown, it was decided to keep the man under 24-hour surveillance. 3 additional teams of men from robbery detail were assigned to the duty. For the next 7 days, the 3 men were under constant watch. Their habits were regular. Their movements during the day followed the same general pattern. The kickback on Ernest Hunter disclosed no criminal record. At the end of the first week of watching the men, it was decided that the next step in the operation was to place a microphone in their room so that we might be able to monitor their conversations. Frank and I got in touch with the sound crew at the crime lab, and we made arrangements with them. The necessary permits were obtained from the Federal Communications Commission, and the listening equipment itself was ready. We made arrangements with radio car officers to pick up the suspects for investigation. The sound crew, Frank and I, along with Murphy and Rafferty, stood by for word that the trio was in custody. Tuesday night, 9:40 p.m.
Should be getting word pretty quick.
Yeah.
Red 2 to Red 1. Red 2 to Red 1. Come in, Red 1.
That's Murph.
Yeah. Red 1 to Red 2. Come in, Red 2.
Any word yet? Over.
No, not yet.
We're all set. The manager's apartment.
Monitor to Outpost 1. Monitor to Outpost 1. Come in, Outpost 1.
Sounds like they got him.
Yeah, you want to take it?
Yeah.
Stand by, Red 3.
Outpost 1 to monitor. Outpost 1 to monitor. Go ahead.
Monitor to Outpost 1. Information received that suspects are in custody. Repeat, suspects are in custody. Acknowledge.
Outpost 1 to monitor. Outpost 1 to monitor. Message received. Outpost 1 out.
You heard it. Now. Red 1 to Red 2 and Red 3. Red 1 to Red 2 and Red 3. You read me, Red 2 and 3?
Red 2 to Red 1. Read you. Red 3 to Red 1. Receiving clearly.
Red 1 to Red 3. Suspects are now in custody. Proceed with installation of listening equipment. Over.
Roger, Red 1.
Red 3, please keep contact.
Will do, Red 1. Red 3 out.
Red 1 to Red 2. Come in, Red 2.
Red 2 to Red 1.
Murph, can you see the suspect's apartment from where you are?
Not good, Joe. It's down the hall and around the corner. First door. Over.
Red 1 to Red 3. Come in, Red 3.
Red 3 to Red 1.
Are you in the apartment yet?
Yeah, Joe. We're just starting to install the bug.
Is there a radio in the room?
Yeah, small table model. It's on the nightstand next to the bed.
Can you fix that before you leave?
Yeah, I'll pull one of the wires so it won't work.
Good. Where are you putting the bug?
We're landing under the edge of the carpet near the door to the kitchen. Should be able to pick up the whole room from there.
Well, there's nothing to do now until we get it finished, huh?
Yeah. We got the recorder all set up?
Yeah, it's in the room. Sound crew came in this afternoon and made the installation on it.
Mm-hmm. You know how to work it?
Yeah, I think so. Jack checked me out on it. It's pretty simple. Just like playing a piano. Press a key and away it goes.
Well, I hope you got it. I've always had trouble with them. Last time out, I wanted to rewind one of the spools and listen to something. Ended up erasing everything we had.
Yes, I remember that very well.
I was afraid you would.
Mm-hmm.
Red 3 to Red 1. Red 3 to Red 1. Come in, Red 1.
It's the sound crew.
Yeah.
Red 1 to Red 3.
At completed installation, we're leaving the apartment.
Have you seen anybody in the halls?
No, all clear. We've had more than our share of luck on this one, Joe.
Yeah, let's hope it holds out. 11:15 p.m. The installation of the listening equipment was completed, and Frank and I, along with Officer Pat Murphy, took up our positions in the room we intended to use as a monitoring post. Officer Rafferty went back to the city hall and told them that we'd finished and we were ready to have the suspects released. In the meantime, Carmichael, Nielsen, and Hunter had been fingerprinted and mugged. A search of their persons had failed to reveal any incriminating evidence, and the time that they'd been held had allowed us to make the necessary installation. After the trio had been released, we received information that they were proceeding toward the hotel. Frank, Murphy, and I waited for them at the monitor post to come into their room. 12:35 a.m.
That's them.
Get the recorder, huh?
Right.
You want to take care of the log, Frank?
Yeah. See, it's 12:36 a.m.
That's it.
Lousy deal, boy.
Just wanted to ask you some questions, that's all.
That's what you think. They had a reason.
You're so smart, you tell me why.
Ah, shut up. Will you, Carmichael? You weren't such a big man when he started asking you the questions all the time, saying how he was going to tell them all.
Why don't you shut your
Probably
mouth?
when you got tanked up with that Turkish bath, that's probably what tipped him.
What tip? A couple of uniformed cops stop us on a routine investigation. They got nothing. Anything on it you think you'll let us go? Well, do you? You think you'll let us go?
Oh, why don't you dry up? Hunter,
Yeah?
turn on the radio, will you? Get some music.
Yeah.
And next time you get tanked, come back here. Don't go roaming all over town. That's why they picked us up. You said something.
What'd I say? You know what I said, huh, do you? You being a big man, you tell me what I said to him. They picked me up. Go ahead, tell me.
You said something. I don't know what it was, but you shut up your mouth. Hey, Hunter, what's the matter with the radio? I thought you were going to turn it up.
I'm fine, Chief. Keep broken, don't worry.
That doesn't make any difference. I'm going to hit the sack.
Nice to have you shut for a while.
You open your mouth anymore, you got more trouble you can handle.
That's the way it looks to you.
Yeah, it does. You guys don't shut up, I'm going to throw one of you out of here. Now shut up and get some sleep. Good night.
Nice.
Still wish we got the radio fixed.
And that's the way it went for the next 5 days. When the men were in the room, they argued continually. They talked about the deal they were working on, but from their conversation, there was no way of learning what they planned. When they left the room, they were constantly under surveillance, but their movements were routine. They took their meals in the same restaurant. They went to movies. They sat in bars, always together. During the time they were out of the apartment, they made no local contacts. They received no telephone calls. They made none. We knew that they were planning something, but there was no way of knowing what it was. All conversation in the room was recorded and listened to over and over again in the hope that we could come up with some kind of a lead. But the time spent in replaying the recordings netted us nothing. From what they'd said, we figured that whatever they were planning would take place on either Tuesday, August 17th, or on Wednesday, August 18th. On Tuesday, 3-way cars were assigned to the streets in front of the hotel, but the suspects acted as usual. On Wednesday, they didn't leave their room. Frank, Murphy, and I continued to wait. On the streets outside, 3 other teams of men were standing by in undercover cars. 9:30 p.m. That's their telephone. Get the recorder, Murph.
Yeah.
9:31 p.m.
Yeah.
I'll get it. Hello? Yeah. When? Right. Okay, we'll leave right now. Yeah. What? Yeah, that's the word we got. Right, we'll see you in about 30 minutes. Right. Hey, how are we going to know you? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got it right. Hey, who was that? The contact? Yeah. The stuff just got in. We're supposed to pick it up right away. Oh, looks like maybe we got to work now. It's too soon for me. Let's go.
That's it. I'll get it out. Outpost 1, the units 1K89, 1K88, 1K87. Suspects are leaving room. Suspects are leaving room. Outpost 1 out. All right, let's go.
I wish we knew what it was. Sounds like it might be narcotics.
Well, it could be. Doesn't make a lot of difference, does it?
Yeah?
At least we know it's something. By the time we got to the street, the suspects were getting into their car and pulling away from the curb. Frank, Murphy, and I got to our car and followed them. They drove down South Flower to the corner of Palm Drive and turned left. 3 blocks further, they pulled into a gas station and apparently asked directions. They turned south on Broadway and drove about a mile. At Santa Barbara Avenue, they turned left again and drove 3 blocks. They stopped and parked the car in front of a small bar. We informed the other units of the activity and asked them to stand by in the area. Carmichael got out of the car and entered the bar. Murphy left us and entered the bar after him. Carmichael returned in a few minutes with another man. The 2 of them got back into the car and they talked. At the end of that time, all 4 of the men got out of the automobile and then they entered the bar. Shortly after that, Carmichael, Nielsen, and Hunter walked out of the place. Carmichael was carrying a small package wrapped in plain brown paper and tied with a string. The 4th man wasn't with him. Frank and I got out of our car and approached the men as they stood talking. All right, hold it up, police officers. Over there. Put your hands up on that wall.
What's going on?
Get your hands up there. Frank, you want to check in the package?
Yeah.
Keep your hands on that wall.
Lousy deal. I hope you're happy, Carmichael. I hope you're real happy.
What are you talking about?
I've got to lay this one to you. You really took care of this.
Stand still and keep quiet. How about it, Frank?
I don't know.
What do you mean?
Where's money? $20 bills. Must be $20,000 worth.
Queer?
As far as I can tell, it's good.
Where's that put us?
Well, there's $20,000 here.
Yeah?
Let's find out where they got it.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
There are good reasons why thousands of people are changing to Chesterfield every day. Why Chesterfield is the largest selling two-way cigarette in America. Why Chesterfield is best for me and best for you. People these days want facts. When you want people to use your product, you have to tell them what effect it has on people who do use it regularly. That's why a doctor has examined for almost 2 years a large group of Chesterfield smokers. 45% of them have, on the average, been smoking Chesterfields for well over 10 years. What is the effect on these people from smoking Chesterfield? No adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses, says the doctor. Consider Chesterfield's record with these smokers, with millions of other smokers throughout America. Another good reason for you to change to Chesterfield. Regular or king size, Chesterfield is best for me, best for you.
10:02 a.m. The 4 suspects were taken into custody and removed to the city hall for interrogation. We got in touch with the Secret Service and asked them to come over to the office to check on the currency. The agent arrived and, after looking at the money, pointed out several minute mistakes that had been made in the engraving of the plates. He went on to explain, however, that this particular printing was one of the best that he'd ever seen. He told us that the paper used in the bills would be analyzed and that we'd receive copies of the reports as soon as they were finished. 12:14 a.m. While Murphy, Rafferty, and the Secret Service man questioned Nielsen in the interrogation room, Frank and I talked to Carmichael in the squad room. We questioned him for about an hour, but he refused to say anything that would help us get a lead to the source of the counterfeit. 1:30 a.m.
How long you figure you can keep this up, Carmichael?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, now, come off it. We're getting tired of playing kid games here. We want to know where the queer came from now.
Who says it's queer?
Guy that printed it was pretty sloppy. He made a lot of mistakes.
Joe?
Yeah, Murph.
See you, man?
Yeah. Be right back.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Nothing. Nielsen won't say a word. Gives it to us that he didn't know what was going on. Says he just went out there to pick up a package.
They say who they were running the errand for?
Well, tells it just he went along for the ride. The whole thing was Carmichael's idea.
Mm-hmm.
We thought maybe we'd go to work on Hunter, see what we can get from him.
Okay.
You going to stick with Carmichael?
Yeah, I guess so. From what we heard in the room, if there's going to be a break, I got a hunch it's going to come from him.
Okay. You got anything, let us know, huh?
Right away.
Oh, big man's back again. Your friend there tell you all about it?
No, but yours did. Nielsen just laid the whole thing in your lap.
You're kidding.
So you want to talk to him?
What'd he say?
The way he tells it, he was just along for the ride. You're the big wheel in the whole thing.
He said that?
I said you could talk to him if you want to.
Well, he ain't going to make it. He ain't going to lay it on me.
You want to tell us your side of it?
Yeah, I'll tell you the way it happened. That lousy bum. How do you like that, him saying I'm the wheel? I'll tell you.
All right, now where'd the queer come from?
I don't know.
I thought you were going to tell us.
I'm doing that. I really don't know where it came from.
You turn up with $20,000 in $20 bills, and you ask us to believe that you don't know where it was printed.
I'm not asking you anything. I'm telling you what I know. That's it.
Well, tell us about your part.
Nielsen, Hunter, and me were approached in Pittsburgh.
By who?
I don't know.
We're going that way again, huh?
I say you don't believe me. That's the way it happened.
The guy who approached you, he just walked up and said, here's $20,000, just like that, huh?
No, the deal was that Nielsen, Hunter, and me were supposed to come out here. We were supposed to check into a hotel and wait for a call. Guy who called us would have the queer. He'd turn it over to us and we'd pass it.
You bought the counterfeit?
Yeah.
What'd you pay for it?
$2.50.
For $20?
Yeah, $2.50 for $20.
You paid the other man we picked up?
Yeah, we gave him $2,500.
You ever seen the man before?
What?
The man you bought the queer from. Do you know him?
No, never saw him before.
He's not the man who made the original contact in Pittsburgh.
No, a guy back east was an old man.
How old?
I don't know, maybe 55, 60, around in there.
Not the fellow you met tonight.
I told you that before. It's not the same man.
Hear him use a name of any kind?
No. Just to call him Pop, that's all. Pop.
Give us a description of this man, Pop.
What's in it for me?
Well, what do you got now?
Nothing.
All right, it'll stay that way. You're in big trouble, Carmichael. If you're smart at all, you're going to cop out the whole thing and cooperate with us.
Lousy Nielsen. Him all the time yelling about how it was all set. All the time saying we had it made. Sure, I'll go with you. I just want to see Nielsen get his, that's all. Just want to see him get his.
We're going to want you to look at some pictures, too.
I told you I'd go the route. You just tell me what you want to know. If I got the answer, so have you.
All right.
What'd he tell you?
What?
That lousy Nielsen. What'd he tell you about how it happened? He tell you the way I did? He tell it that way?
Pretty much, yeah.
Sure, that's the way it happened. Can't be told any other way.
Well, Nielsen might give you an argument there. Further interrogation of the other three men in the operation served to corroborate the story that we've been given by Carmichael. $2,500 in cash was found on the fourth suspect. Once the other men were confronted with the fact that Carmichael had told us everything he knew concerning the operation, they all followed suit. But other than telling us that they knew the head man in the counterfeiting act as Pop, they couldn't come up with any further information. From the man who'd been in the bar, we learned that he'd met Pop in Pittsburgh. He also told us that as far as he knew, the counterfeiter had been in prison at one time or another. However, the suspect was unable to tell us in what state or on what charges Pop had served time. He went on to tell us that he'd gotten the money in Pittsburgh and that Pop had told him that he'd be contacted later. The Secret Service had completed their analysis of the counterfeit bills, and they told us that they were some of the most perfect printing jobs that they'd run across. The counterfeiter had made one major mistake, however. In the printing of the currency, he'd impregnated the paper with small silken hairs so that it would stand close inspection. The currency now in use is made with nylon hairs. The agent from the Secret Service told us that they had agents working on tracing the manufacturer of the paper in the hopes that they could come up with a lead as to the identity of Pop. The four suspects were booked into the city jail. Thursday, August 19th, we ran the name Pop through our moniker file. Of the 47 cards turned over to us by the Record Bureau, 19 of the suspects listed matched the descriptions that we'd been given. The pictures of the men were pulled and shown to Carmichael and the other three suspects. They were unable to give us an identification. The name and description was sent to George Brereton in Sacramento, and he sent us another 150 possibles. These were checked out without result. The nickname and physical description of the man was sent to Washington, and we got back over 1,000 names and pictures. It took us 6 weeks, working with the Secret Service, to check out these possibles. The results, nothing. Tuesday, October 5th, Frank and I got back to the office. I get it. Robbery Friday. Yeah. All right, wait a minute. Wait till I get that down. All right, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, well, it should check out. Right. Okay, we'll meet you.
What you got?
Report of the paper and the queer bills just came through.
Yeah?
Looks like we found Pop. In checking the manufacturers of paper similar to that used in the counterfeit $20 bills, the Secret Service had come up with the name of a small print shop in the eastern section of Los Angeles. The paper used was of an unusual type, and there were not many orders for it. This particular shop had ordered large quantities of it in the past and was continuing to use it. In checking out the name of the man on the order blanks, the Secret Service had found that he'd been convicted of robbery and had served a term in the federal penitentiary in Atlanta. He'd been released and had come to California and opened a small print shop. We spent the next 2 days checking the suspect out. His name was given as Stanley Jackson, age 47. For the next week, the print shop and Jackson himself were kept under constant surveillance. On Thursday, October 14th, at 11:50 p.m., the suspect was followed to his print shop.
I'll cover the front of the shop, Joe.
Right, mate. Come on, Frank.
Yeah. Joe?
Yeah. Sounds like a press, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Come on. Back door's around here. You see what's going on in there?
No. Got the windows all painted over. What do you figure?
Well, it doesn't leave us with a lot of choice. If we go in and he's not printing counterfeit, we're going to make him so hinky that we might never nail him.
Yeah. If we don't go in, he might get rid of the place, and we're in trouble there, too.
Yeah, like I said, we haven't got much choice, have we? All right, let's go.
What's going on? What are you doing in
Police
here?
officers, you're under arrest. You want to check the press, Frank?
You got no right to come in here like this. I know my rights. You haven't got a warrant. You've got no right to act like this.
You want to kill it, Frank?
I got it. Got a placement in the press, Joe. Doing the green overlay. Take a look.
You haven't got any right touching those. They're mine. They belong to me, mister.
Where'd you get the plates, Jackson?
They're good, aren't they, mister? The very best.
Where'd you get them?
Made them? Made them myself.
Where'd you learn engraving?
In prison. When they sent me to prison, I learned all about engraving. Real engraving. Not photo process, but the real thing. Finest plates I've ever seen. The best. Beautiful money, isn't it? Best I've ever seen. Fool anybody. Did it all myself. Pass it anywhere. Fool anybody, anywhere.
Yeah.
Just look at it, mister. That's a genuine article, isn't it? Real money. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect, mister.
No, you're wrong there. The government didn't print it.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 11th, trial was held in federal court, Southern District of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, we've tried very hard to set a Dragnet standard. Now, to put that in just a few words, we try to make each program the kind of entertainment that you want. Now, we're going to keep working real hard at that. And you know, the people who make Chesterfields feel the same way about their cigarette. To sell a product, you have to make it good and keep it good. And the latest reports from our research lab shows Chesterfield is highest in quality. Highest in quality, low in nicotine. Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Chesterfield, regular or king size. They're milder, they're satisfying, they're best for me, best for you.
Vernon Alex Carmichael, Howard Raymond Nielsen, Ernest Richard Hunter, Philip Roger Harger, and Stanley Norman Jackson were tried and convicted of violation of Title 18 U.S. Code, Section 474, printing and issuing counterfeit money. Violation of this title is punishable by a fine of $5,000 and imprisonment in a federal penitentiary for a period not to exceed 15 years. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Clarence Cassell, Jack Crucian, Harry Bartell. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Have you tried new cork tip Fatima? It's the smooth smoke with Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for longer filtering and Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. Remember, Fatima, with tips of perfect cork, is made and guaranteed by the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett & Myers Tobacco Company.
My name is Jeff Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, Investigator, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of The Too Many Mrs. Rogers.
7th Street, near Olive. That's where it stands, downtown L.A. Cosmopolitan Building. A big chunk of granite poking its way up through a parking lot. That's where you'll find International Detective Bureau, Suite 308. A good bargain counter if you're shopping around for trouble. Anthony J. Lyon, the guy I work for, pays the rent. Can't be very much. Sunlight and those office walls have never said hello. The Cosmopolitan Building. An air shaft runs right up the middle of it. Suite 308 is wrapped around that ventilator like a donut around a hole. Figures that the Weather Bureau ought to run a separate survey on that office. Because we get all the blow-by from the Acme Incense Company, 3 doors down the hall. Los Angeles smog had come in second best if they knew about it. Well, it was last Tuesday, the day that Cleveland won the pennant, that I walked in. The Lion was there pecking around on that same old Remington. Somebody'd broken the period key, but he didn't seem to mind. He talks in commas anyway. I don't know who he was writing to, but there were a couple of cereal box tops at his elbow and a contest blank. He was writing something about why I feed my children your breakfast food. The Lion's a bachelor.
Regan, who do you know in Battle Creek, Michigan?
Jack Armstrong.
I may win this contest. Here's one for you to fill in.
No, I don't eat breakfast.
This is different. I got it as a case. Here's the address. Hinkle and Hinkle.
Well, they make pills.
It's a funeral parlor, one of the best in town.
I'm healthy.
I want you to be very careful how you talk to these people.
Who, the customers?
Hinkle and Hinkle, father and son. They got a fine establishment, and all the best people go to them for the final right.
Well, I'm fresh out of Shroud.
They got problems, Hinkle and Hinkle have.
What's the trouble?
Hop over there and they'll tell you.
I'd rather get it from you.
Regan, I can't do that.
Why?
You've read our business card. Anything told to an international man is in the strictest confidence. I wrote that and won't double-cross a client.
Well, that's a new twist for you.
What do you mean?
Every day you dump these phony cases in my lap and I go out on them. All I do is play tag with homicide.
You won't get caught.
A lot of canned tuna felt that way.
You know I take care of you.
That's what I don't like.
Hinkle and Hinkle are expecting you right now.
Yeah.
Jump in your car and get over there.
What do I say to them?
Just say hello. They'll pick it up from there.
You know, someday I'm going to quit.
If you do, you'll starve.
So what?
You'll still wind up at Hinkle and Hinkle.
Well, the place was on Hope Street near Washington Boulevard. You couldn't miss it. A 2-story building, painted a battleship gray that sort of crouched at the curb. It had a square pimple for a door and flanked on each side by a brass angel. They were a dirty green color. I figured that one of the Hinkles could have been a little more eager with a metal polish. The glass door was draped with white satin, and it fluttered as I walked in. The hall was quiet. There was enough marble inside to make the Bank of America jealous. Another angel, this time with the wings folded back, was pointing toward the reception room. I followed directions and moved on. It smelled like the bargain matinee at the Roxy. Over in one corner was a vase of tired-looking flowers trying real hard not to be cheerful. A little guy in a black serge suit was floating around the room with an atomizer filled with perfume. The whole place was about as inviting as a maiden aunt's kiss. The little man didn't even look at me. He just kept squirting. He couldn't put the perfume people out of business, but I figured he had them working nights. Your name, Hinkle?
As soon as I finish.
Yeah, well, that might take months. That's a big bottle.
Don't you just adore this scent?
What's the matter? Aren't the flowers working?
They're paper. Now then, sir.
I asked first.
Yes, I am Jason Hinkle.
Aren't there 2 of you?
Gerald?
Did you call, Pa?
Just showing this man the other Hinkle.
Oh, hi.
Now then, I believe that you'll find we can make all the necessary arrangements.
Save the commercial. Nobody's dead.
Oh, that's too bad. This week we're having a special at a greatly reduced rate.
Well, I figure I got a few more years. Now, look, didn't you want to see me?
Oh, you from Atlas.
Who?
Atlas Casket Company. We have plenty on hand. Penicillin has practically ruined our business.
My name's Regan. I'm with International.
Oh, of course. You're the Lion's Eye. I'm glad you got here.
Well, tell me, and we'll both be happy.
Hey, Pa, he don't look so tough.
What you do, Buster, you scare me.
I'll bet I could break in the middle.
Never mind, Gerald. I'll have to apologize for him. He lifts weights.
He'd have to carry that head around.
Just say the word, Pa.
Gerald. Now, Mr. Regan, if you'll step in the back room.
All right.
I have to be careful about Gerald. He's just a junior partner.
He ought to be the silent one.
He didn't learn to talk till he was almost 9.
I paid him for 6.
Drink, Mr. Regan.
No, thanks. I stopped drinking that stuff in 32.
Oh, you mean the formaldehyde label. Yes, I have to hide it from Gerald.
All right, now we've been through the family album. What's the job?
Do you know a Mrs. Rogers?
The phone book's full of them.
Mrs. Rogers has been most unfortunate. Poor dear woman, they were married such a short time, and they were ecstatically happy.
Her husband die?
Mm-hmm. She lost him 3 days ago. Hinkle and Tinkle are handling the last rites. Poor Mrs. Rogers. She's so young.
She want a shoulder to cry on?
Mrs. Rogers wished her husband taken to the family plot in La Jolla. We are finishing the limousine, and she's requested someone to accompany her.
I'll try a Pullman Porter. They like to travel.
This whole thing has most unusual aspects. Mrs. Rogers thinks she needs protection.
We could send Gerald.
She'd still need protection. No, Mr. Regan, she wants you.
She paying for this?
I believe Mr. Lyon has her check.
Okay. That all you got to tell me?
Mr. Regan, we only handle the dead.
Well, they don't need protection.
That's what they said about King Tut.
Hinkle gave me her address. It was over near Westlake Park. It was one of those new modern apartment houses painted an elephant pink. It was around 6 o'clock when I rang the bell. While I waited, I tried to figure this protection angle. I thought maybe I could talk her out of it and wind up the whole thing right here. I kind of figured that she was just upset and needed a man around. When she opened the door, I knew I was right. You could see she was in mourning. She was wearing black lipstick. She was tall and thin, with long blonde hair. She made Mr. Peabody's mermaid look like a beginner. Right then, I knew that this case was about as much on the level as the city of San Francisco. She needed protection, all right, but so did I. When she said hello, it melted all over you like honey on a hot biscuit.
You're standing in a draft.
Well, it's a warm night.
Well, come in.
You Mrs. Rogers?
That's right.
My name's Regan.
The man from International. You're more than I paid for.
Well, prices are coming down.
Come over here where we can talk.
I got a big voice.
Well, sit down. You act like you're afraid of me.
Well, I didn't think it showed.
Oh, yes. You're just exactly what I wanted.
I used to be with an escort bureau.
Well, then this should be part of your service. I'll bet the bureau went broke when you quit.
No, but I left them in a hole.
Relax, Mr. Regan. It's early.
Now, look, lady, we can play musical chairs some other time. What do you want?
Why worry? You're getting paid.
Yeah, but this kind of stuff won't buy food.
I'm lonely.
Do your act in the Coliseum. It'll be a sellout.
You're practically a crowd.
That's what they say about 3.
No, it's just you and me.
With a dead man in between.
Never mind Victor. He's my problem.
Not anymore. Come on, lady. This is a fat blister. Let's break it.
Slow down, Mr. Regan.
Maybe that's what happened to Victor.
All right. If you don't want to play my game, let's play yours.
That's why you hired me.
You know about my husband's coffin?
Hinkle's having a sale.
It's in the next room now. The limousine will be here in the morning at 8 sharp. We're going to La Jolla.
Hinkle knows that much.
And that's all you need to know.
All I need or all I get. Light up, lady. I don't like the dark.
It's a simple job. You go with me on the trip.
Not enough.
All right, I'll give you a bonus.
How much?
$1,000.
It's just a whisper.
That's $10 a mile between here and La Jolla.
I get car sick. Now, what has to get there besides Victor?
A star sapphire as big as the moon.
That good?
Need sunglasses to look at it.
Well, why didn't you tell me?
I want that ring to get there on his finger.
Don't worry, I don't have a fence.
Victor's will said he must be buried with it on.
Oh, yeah, you got tears in your eyes.
That's what he wanted, and that's what he'll get. Other people know about that ring. Victor wouldn't want to lose it this late in the game.
I'm the nursemaid.
That's right. When I said I do to Victor in Yuma 1946, I promised him.
The trip to La Jolla?
I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8. Until then, get out.
That bonus still good?
If that ring gets to La Jolla?
I'll see that it does.
Aren't you afraid somebody might steal it?
No, Letty. You'll ride with me. Well, I began to get an uneasy feeling, like a steer on the way to Kansas City. I left Helen Rogers and walked outside. There wasn't much traffic. It was a warm night, and all the canoes in Westlake Park were full. I headed for an all-night coffee spot on the corner. If I'd have taken one more step, I'd have been in the back seat of a new Nash convertible with the top down. There was a brunette with long black hair in the driver's seat. She was thin and figured to be tall, the way she was wrapped around the wheel. There were two things different. She had bright red lipstick, and her hair was black. She was wearing a dress the color of a boulevard stop, and she flipped the right door open. One look at her, and you knew that Dallas was wrong about their women.
Want a lift, soldier?
No, I only got a weekend pass.
Plenty of time. You can go AWOL.
No, I'm bucking for sergeant.
Get in, and I'll tell you about the atomic bomb.
Short ride?
No, I think a long.
Okay, I'll buy the gas.
Won't have to, Mr. Regan. I've got a credit card.
Now, don't tell me you're lonely.
You're in trouble.
What kind?
Bad client.
Why?
You should be working for Mrs. Rogers.
That's who signed the check.
I'm Mrs. Rogers.
That blonde's got a license to prove it. Yuma, 1946.
I've got priority, Mexico City, 1942.
No divorce?
Victor was a poor Boy Scout. He could only tie one knot.
He went for the chorus line.
And played for keeps. And I loved him. Helen didn't.
How do I know?
I don't care if you do.
All right. What do you want with me?
I'm his wife, his first one, his real one. We had some sort of life together before the scenes changed. It's my job to bury him.
That all?
That's all.
The corkscrew. Straighten it out, sis.
I'm telling you the truth.
You left out one item. Tell me that sapphire's got nothing to do with the affection.
It hasn't.
That's what the other Miss Rogers said.
She's a liar.
A blonde one.
She'll run out of bleach.
You're trying too hard.
I'm telling you, Regan, I'm not going to sit by and do nothing.
I believe you. You're letting your fingernails grow. Well, the brunette's name turned out to be Catherine Rogers. She gave me her number, but I wasn't buying. I felt kind of confused, like a polar bear in Palm Springs. Catherine didn't have any more, so she let me off on a corner, and I doubled back to the first Mrs. Rogers' place. It was about 20 minutes later when I rang Helen's bell. No answer. The door was unlocked, so I went in. The room was dark, except for the neon sign outside the bedroom window. I could see Victor Rogers' coffin banked up with flowers. The biggest blossom was already wilted. It was Helen. She was lying on the floor, and her fire was out. Well, I went back to the living room to call homicide, and I smelled taboo perfume. She made a real good reflection in the mirror behind me. This one was a redhead. She had long hair. She was tall and thin enough to slip under the door. She had a little hand, but her finger could reach the trigger of the gun that she had in my back. I couldn't tell too much about her, but if I'd known her in college, my homework would have suffered.
Don't make a date. You're not going to make it.
She'll wait.
It may be forever. Hang it up.
Did you do the job on the blonde?
Maybe.
Too many going for that sapphire.
Maybe.
Which one are you?
Rita.
Where'd he find you?
South America.
Different places, different girls.
That's it.
You'd make a good advance man for the United Nations.
Just the female department.
All right. When did you win your letter?
Havana, 1944.
You're right in the middle.
No, you are.
Well, the Andrews sisters did all right.
I want to duet with you.
I'll sing off key.
That's all right. It's the style.
No music.
You're not listening hard enough.
Well, South America took it away. When I came out of it, I was all head, like tapped beer in a cheap saloon. The room was full of homicide. They must have got a hotshot call because they were all there. All I could see was the seats of their pants. I picked out the shiniest pair, and I knew it was Sergeant Sanducci. He was standing over me with a notebook. The way he was sucking on that pencil, I figured he must have been a lollipop man in his youth. Everybody was there. All the newspapers, the fingerprint men were dusting everything. I had about as much chance as a Christmas tree salesman in July. Sanducci leaned into me.
Borderline anemia?
Oh.
Kind of tired?
Yeah.
Anybody would get tired lugging a heavy gun.
What gun?
This 38. It pushed a hole in that blonde.
That's not mine.
Who cares? The hand is yours. That's where we found it.
Hey, Sanducci, let me shoot a picture of the eye, will you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Look happy, Regan.
I got a bad smile.
Oh, we'll retouch it. Good. Now look like a killer.
That's enough.
Oh, come on. Let's see your teeth.
Beat it, punk, or you'll spend the rest of the night picking yours up.
How do you like that for gratitude?
Okay, Regan. Now, why'd you do it?
You tell me.
I'm working on it.
You're out of your mind. I blow a hole in her, then crack myself on the head?
I'm working on that, too.
We'll work on a redhead named Rita Rogers.
I'm going steady.
She rapped me. It's her gun.
Your forehead is wet.
Work on a brunette named Catherine Rogers. She's grubbing around, too.
I told you I already got a date. You.
You couldn't see a frame in a picture gallery.
We walk in and find a warm blonde in a deep freeze. You're lying there with the murder gun in your hand and you're yelling Patsy. What were you doing here?
I was on a job. Out in Washington. They sent me over here. I was supposed to go to La Jolla with that blonde.
On Lion's time?
I said it was a job. She was taking her dead husband down to the family plot. She was worried about a sapphire ring. Look in the coffin, you'll see.
We already did.
Well, what'd you find?
Air. The coffin was empty.
You are listening to the story of the Too Many Mrs. Rogers, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Commissions are still available in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve. If you're a graduate registered nurse between the ages of 21 and 45, you may be eligible for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps section of the Regular Officers Reserve. These commissions are still available, and those who meet the high standards and qualify with this fine organization may elect active or inactive status. If you believe you qualify for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now back to the story of the Too Many Mrs. Rogers and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, I had about as much chance as a snowball in a Turkish bath. The Lion sends me to a funeral parlor run by two guys named Hinkle and Hinkle. They bank me off to a blonde, Mrs. Rogers, who wants protection taking her husband's body to La Jolla. He's being lowered with a star sapphire on his finger. Everybody's scrambling for it. But Victor Rogers was a collector of long-legged ladies, and the blonde turns out to be just a single in the crowd scene. There's two other Mrs. Rogers, a brunette and a redhead. You can't tell one from the other without a program. The next thing I know, the blonde is dead. I'm holding the murder gun, and an alibi as full of as many holes as a piece of cheesecloth. There's no star sapphire, no body in the coffin, and Sanducci of homicide is pounding away at me. Well, the police finished in the blonde's apartment. The prints were lifted, and the gun was wrapped. It was Sanducci all the way.
Come on, Regan. Say why.
You're pressing.
I just work hard.
You got nothing.
You'll be saying that in the chamber.
You're bluffing.
How do you figure?
The setup's so strong, even you can smell it.
I got sinus.
Well, you're not taking me in.
Well, who said I was?
Let's see.
We'll be around for you when we're ready.
Retirement will set in first.
I'll sign for another hitch.
Look, if you got to keep beating your head against the wall, come over to my place.
What for?
It's brick. I left Sanducci still chewing his pencil and headed back for the office. I knew homicide wouldn't let the matter drop, so I wanted to see if maybe the Lion could do me any good. I didn't have any supper, but somehow I'd lost my appetite. When I walked in, the Lion was still working on that contest blank. He was keeping late hours. The only reason he doesn't go to his hotel room is he gets a reduction in his weekly rate if he doesn't sleep in the bed.
Regan, where you been?
Dating Sanducci.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
How many times have I told you to watch your step?
Well, you never check before you send a guy out on a job.
What have you got?
Well, she's beautiful.
What else?
She's dead.
That's no way to run a business.
You got your advance.
I was thinking of public relations.
Oh, stop it, will you? Somebody mentions dough and you're there with a basket.
That's enough. Let's drop this case.
Not until the wind dies down.
I got another job for you.
I'm still with the old one.
The case is closed.
Well, I'm opening
You
it.
do as you're told.
Now, listen, big shot. You eased me in on that hook. Now, let's see you work backwards.
Regan, you're getting out of line.
Get a trace on Catherine and Rita Rogers.
Who are they?
A brunette and a redhead.
What else?
Victor Rogers' wives.
What about Helen?
His record broke on I Do.
We'll get going and clear this thing up.
Would you like to give it a whirl?
Regan, don't you like working for me?
I'll answer that when we both got more time. Well, I left the line, picked up a cup of coffee and a sandwich, and went home. Then I tried to figure the mess. A guy with 3 wives drops dead and is going to be buried with a fortune on his finger. All the hens start clawing around. That figures. One of them gets the axe. I happen him. A setup for a patsy. That figures. But what doesn't is why is the coffin empty? Somebody pulls a knockoff to grab a sapphire and takes the stiff with it. Oh, I was getting nowhere, like a pickpocket in a nudist colony. The next morning, I was back on Embalmer's Row, Hinkle and Hinkle. I went inside. The little guy in the black suit and his son were standing in the entrance hall. Old Hinkle came toward me kind of slow, like an ant with a super chief in tow.
You're back so soon, Regan. Everything all right at Mrs. Rogers?
Your business is picking up.
I don't understand.
Neither do I. You fill it in.
Now, there's no use taking that belligerent attitude.
Now, listen, you. I played patsy long enough.
Hey, Pa, shall I mash him?
You heard Gerald, Regan. Now, get your paws off of me quick.
Oh, we're backstage now. Your grease paint's off.
I don't know why you came back here. We don't know anything about it.
That's your version.
Look, Regan, I'm going to try to let you down easy, so pay attention. You were called on a routine job. We played our part, now you play yours. Take that trip to La Jolla.
We're going to need a bigger car now.
I told you all I know. Now beat it.
Homicide wants somebody. I'm going to give him you.
You're on a treadmill.
That's all right. It's slowing down.
I'm tired of this small talk, Regan. Now get out of here before I sick Gerald on you.
Is that all you got to offer?
That's it. Now blow.
Okay. Next time I'll bring homicide.
Just won't give up, will you? Gerald?
Yeah. How do you want him, Pa? Broken, too?
You handle it. I'll be in the back room.
Fist or gun butt, Pa? Hold
butt.
still. You should be glad Pa didn't say fist. It's harder. See? Oh. I dreamed about you last night, Regan.
Must have been something you ate.
I dreamed I broke you in two.
You're still walking in your sleep.
You say funny things, Regan, but your face don't go with it.
Get away from me, you big ape.
I seen a clown in a circus once. He had a big red nose like this. And he didn't have no teeth. And he had little teensy eyes way back in his head. Yeah, you make a swell clown now.
I was getting nowhere, like a skyrider in a high wind. Gerald must have got tired. He stood over me grinning like a Notre Dame gargoyle. I tried to get up a couple of times, but it would have been easier to get to Ohio on a pogo stick. I kept wondering if he'd ever quit when the front door opened and Catherine, the brunette Mrs. Rogers, came in. She had a .32 in her hand, and she leveled it at Gerald.
Stop it!
We're going to the circus.
Stop it or I'll kill you!
All right, you heard her.
What about the circus?
Come here, you. There ought to be a place for you in the sideshow.
I got tired waiting for you to come to me.
Yeah, thanks.
Shall we go where we can talk?
What do you want?
You.
So did Junior here.
My hands are softer.
Your gun isn't.
You can hold it.
It's not good enough.
Still don't trust me?
No.
We'll go in your car.
Oh, it gets better.
We'll go to your place.
Okay.
You won't be sorry.
Why?
Because I'm going to help you, Regan.
You just did, lady. We left Hinkle and Hinkle and drove up Washington to Vermont and then north toward Hollywood. Above Beverly, we had to detour for the freeway coming, and it made me kind of mad. I'd been detouring since the beginning. Well, she didn't say much, and I tried to figure. The last time I saw her, she gave me a choke act about being the only one who ever loved Victor. And the next thing I knew, I was set up like pins in a bowling alley, and Sanducci was going for 300. We pulled to a stop in front of my place and went in. Inside, there was company. She wasn't invited. But the red-headed Rita, the South American bombshell, was lying on my bed. Somebody had set her off. She was dead. This the kind of help you mean?
I didn't know she was here.
Oh, come off it. You're not Bergman.
I didn't.
She's past convincing.
I'm talking to you.
So am I.
Regan.
No go, lady. You knocked her off, got me over here, worked the gun into my hand.
No.
You did the first job, too. You let me out of your car, doubled back to Helen's before I got there and fogged her.
No, you're wrong.
Right me.
I did double back to Helen's apartment and got there before you.
Looking for that sapphire.
Looking for a showdown on Vic's burial. It was my job.
You said that before.
We argued.
Pulling hair.
I didn't touch her.
Go on.
When I left, Rita was coming up the stairs. She didn't see me. I stepped into the shadows and watched her go into Helen's apartment. They began screaming. I looked in and saw Rita kill her. Then I heard someone coming and ran.
That'd be me, huh?
Yes.
Moving in to play Patsy.
And I heard the police thought you did it.
That's right.
So I looked for you.
Tell that to homicide.
I will.
You make it sound good.
It is.
Cleans up one, but you're not through.
Why?
It's a double header. Who killed Rita?
I don't know.
What happened to the sapphire?
I don't know.
Where's Victor's body?
What do you mean?
It's not in the box.
I...
Oh, sure. Wind it up and make it good.
I don't know.
The wrong pitch.
You still don't trust me.
Not until you clean up the rest, no.
She can't, Regan. I've got the broom. Nice of you to remember, Catherine.
How do you remember?
I got a card file.
You can throw away some pages.
That's what I figured. I've been tagging after the two of you for some time.
So you're Victor. Well, it's beginning to clear. You got Hinkle to help you play dead.
Tell me why.
You tell me.
I'm moving up in society. I have to unload.
Oh, yeah, it all figures. You're dead. The wives start working for the loot. In the scramble, they take care of each other. The redhead gets the blonde. You get the redhead.
And take care of what's left. Now, let's close the book.
Victor's aim was good. Catherine went down. Sanducci got Victor from the bedroom window. His sapphire ring caught the light as he sprawled on the floor. And then Sanducci climbed in off the fire escape. Catherine's hair was still long, but she wasn't tall anymore.
Regan.
Yeah, baby.
Victor.
He's through.
He was no good.
Yeah.
But I loved him.
Uh-huh.
We should have met sooner. So long, soldier.
That's it, Regan.
Yeah.
She seemed like a nice kid.
Yeah. It's going to be a long trip, but she'll make it. Well, that was it. Victor was ambitious. He was moving up in society and couldn't stand a bigamy scandal. His brain worked overtime cooking up that dish. He rigged it with the blonde Helen at first, but she got it right off from the redhead, and that didn't make him cry. Took care of one. When the redhead came over to my place, Victor tagged her and put her away there. 2 down, and I'm the fall guy. Then he waited for the brunette so he could finish the game. Oh, yeah. Vic was a busy fella, but he ran out of breath. Well, Sanducci put my place back in order, and nothing was left of the girls with the long hair but dandruff. I called the lion. He was mad. A whole day shot without adding a mark to his bank account. Well, Sanducci and I both came up with the same question. All 3 of those women were beautiful. I wonder if they'd all gone for Victor if they really knew. That star sapphire was a phony.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan, with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. Jeff Regan, Investigator, written by Larry Roman and D. Jack Newman, produced by Sterling Tracy, is heard each week at this time over CBS. Tonight's cast included Grace Lennard, Gloria Blondell, Laurette Philbrandt, John Hoyt, Jack Petrucci, Paul Frees, and David Ellis. If you're a graduate registered nurse, please listen carefully to this important message. 29,000 nurses are needed to join the new Army Nurse Corps Officers Reserve. For the first time in history, qualified nurses have the opportunity of receiving commissions in the regular Army Reserve. These nurses will remain on inactive status, ready to serve their country in time of emergency. For further information, drop a card to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. Original music for this program is by Milton Charles. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to give you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A young girl has been found in a cheap hotel room, apparently an attempted suicide. There's reason to suspect foul play. Your job, investigate. To sell a product, you have to make it good and keep it good. What do the latest reports show about Chesterfield? Well, our research laboratory has compared it with the leading cigarettes in the country. Chesterfield is highest in quality, low in nicotine. Another good reason why thousands of people are changing to Chesterfield every day. Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular or king size, you'll find Chesterfield really mild, really satisfying. Best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, November 19th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. We'd just gotten a call from Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, and it was 9:46 a.m. when we got to the second floor. The treatment room.
Yes?
Could I see Dr. Hall, please?
Come in, Joe. Joe, Frank?
Hi, Doc. Is this the girl?
Yeah.
How's she doing?
Well, not sure yet. Just finished the transfusion.
Well, when are you going to know?
We think she's going to live, but there's no way of telling right now how much damage has been done to the brain tissue.
Mm-hmm.
Bad bruise on her face. Must have received a bad blow. Might have gotten it when she fell.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go outside, huh? I can use a smoke.
Okay.
Well, if there's any change, I'll be out in the hall.
All right, Doctor.
You got a cigarette? I'm fresh out.
Yeah, here you are. Frank? Yeah, thanks. Here's a match.
Thanks.
I didn't know you gave transfusions in cases like this, Doc.
Won't have to very often. You see, a thing like this, the carbon monoxide in the gas joins with the hemoglobin in the red cells, won't let go. Blood takes the monoxide through the system and suffocates the brain tissue. We've given her some choramine, helps speed up the heart action. The way it looks, she's got a good chance of living, but we won't know how bad it really is until later.
It's a rough one, isn't it?
You find out who she is?
Well, according to the stuff we found in her wallet, her name's Mona Fenton. Another thing that doesn't make much sense, Doc. She registered into the hotel as Mrs. John Norris. Near as we can find out, she wasn't married.
How'd you come up with that?
Well, when the office got word about it, we tried to get in touch with her husband. We called the phone number on the ID that we found in her wallet, talked with her mother. She says the girl's single.
How about the guy she was with? You been able to talk to him?
No, haven't found out who he is.
Name doesn't check out, huh?
Not that we can find.
How about the mother? She give you anything?
We just talked to her for a minute. We're going over there when we leave here.
Maybe she can come up with some answers.
I sure hope so.
A couple of more questions you can ask her.
Yeah? What's that?
Find out if the girl's been under a doctor's care.
What do you mean?
Checked her over when she came in. Found marks.
On her arms?
Yeah. I think she's an addict.
At 8:30 a.m. that morning, a guest in a small hotel on Grand Avenue had thought that he detected the odor of gas in the halls of the building. He notified the desk clerk, and together they conducted a search of the premises. Finally, they ascertained that the escaping gas was coming from a room on the third floor of the hotel. When the desk clerk got no answer to his calls, he used a pass key to open the door. Sprawled across the bed was a girl who appeared to be in her early 20s. The gas heater in the room had been turned on full, and the windows were closed, locked, and stuffed with pieces of torn sheets to keep the fumes in the room. The quick action of the desk clerk had undoubtedly saved the girl's life. While the hotel guest called an ambulance, the clerk turned off the gas, opened the windows, and administered artificial respiration to the girl until the ambulance crew arrived. As an attempted suicide, the homicide detail had to make an investigation, and Frank and I were assigned to the case. After we talked to Doc Hall at Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, we drove down to the hotel where the girl had been found.
Right in here.
Anybody been in this room since the other officers left?
No, sir. Told me to lock it until you could see it.
All right, sir. Well, this is just the way you found it, is that right?
Well, yes, of course, the gas is turned off, and I opened the windows, but everything else is the same.
I see. Well, from what you said on the phone, she came in last night, is that right?
Yes, sir. At least that's what the registration book says. They checked in at 10:15.
Did you take care of them?
No, I was out to dinner when they got here.
Who checked them in?
Jeff Christensen.
Is he around?
No, not right now. He'll probably be back tonight.
You know where we can find him?
I don't know. See, Jeff got paid last night. Got his week's wages. Last I saw him, he was on his way out on the town with some of his friends. Jeff goes out on the town. Maybe we don't see him a couple of days.
I see. But you figure he'll be back tonight, huh?
Oh, yes. Jeff only worked a couple of days last week, so he ain't going to go on much of the town.
Mm-hmm. Did you see the man Miss Fenton came in with?
No, I didn't. You were already in the room when I got back from dinner. I checked the book. I got the money from Jeff before I left. The man must have gone out sometime early this morning. I guess I was asleep. My room's just back of the desk. Fella must have got out while I was asleep.
I see. Did you get any calls from the room at all?
Not a one. Like I told those uniformed officers we hear, I didn't see them at all. Not a peep. Matter of fact, I was thinking how nice and quiet they were. But the way the room looks, they sure must have had some sort of argument.
Yes, sir. Would you know if they brought any baggage with them?
Matter of fact, I know they didn't. Sure looks like they did some heavy drinking, don't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Glasses. That bottle's almost empty.
Yeah. I'd rather you wouldn't touch the bottle.
Oh, yeah, well, I won't. Say, you talked to the girls' people yet?
No, sir, we haven't.
But you're planning to see them, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I wonder if you'd do me a favor. You know when you see up people?
Yes, sir. What's that?
Well, I don't much mind the dirty glasses and having to straighten the room up. That's all part of the hotel business. But I wish you'd say something about the torn sheets. Tell the people about them. I don't want to cause no trouble, but maybe if they know how about the sheets were all torn up, they'd want to make good on them. You will mention them, won't you? Hmm?
Yes, sir. I'll call the office, Joe. Have them send out a crew, see what prints we can lift. All right, fine. Who else has a pass key to this room?
Oh, you mean beside me?
Yes, sir.
Well, ain't nobody.
Where's the key kept?
That hangs on a nail next to the desk. That big nail there. It hangs right on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When you came into the room, did you notice if there was anything around the door to keep the gas inside?
I don't follow you.
Well, you found pieces of torn sheets around the windows, you say. Now, was there anything like that with the door?
Oh, yes, I'm with you now, yeah. Now, let me think. As I remember, no, there wasn't nothing there, just around the windows.
Mm-hmm. Was the key in the lock when you came up here?
You mean inside the room?
Yes, sir, that's right.
No. The reason I know that for sure is that I looked through the keyhole, tried to see what was in the room. No, sir, the key wasn't in. Of course, that don't mean nothing.
Sir?
Well, only a couple of the rooms have keys anyway. We don't use them anymore.
You mean you don't lock the doors?
Sure, we lock the doors. We got them all locked all the time. This is a respectable hotel. Of course we lock the doors. But not with those keys. We got those other locks on the doors.
Oh, I see.
You see, yeah, see that? Sort of like Yale locks. That kind, you know. That's what locks the doors, not the other keys.
Yes, I see.
Of course we lock the doors.
Yes, sir. The locks catch when the door is closed, though. Is that right?
Yeah, locks them tight.
I got in touch with Lee Jones, Joe. He sent a crew right over. Good. I checked with Doc Hall. How's the girl? Oh, she's coming along. Doc says she's doing better.
Oh, these fellas that you're going to have roaming around here. What's this all about? There's something wrong?
We're not sure yet, sir.
Oh, dear. It always happens like this, don't it?
What's that, sir?
I try to run a respectable place. Goodness knows I do. I keep it right up to date. It's good service, and something like this happens. There's no reason for that girl to do a thing like this, not in my hotel. Now you cops coming here. Cops going to be all over the place. Tenants aren't going to like it. They ain't going to like it at all. Just because of that girl. Why'd she have to come in here and do a thing like this?
Why'd she have to do it at all, sir? 11:26 a.m. We questioned the people in the hotel. None of them could remember hearing any undue noise coming from the room where the girl had tried to kill herself. Normally, the investigation would have been routine, but with the possibility of foul play, we had to check every angle and then check it again. The crew from the crime lab arrived and went over the room. Under the bed, they found an empty capsule, the type commonly used to dispense heroin. They also came up with a clean set of fingerprints on both glasses. They were photographed, and the water glasses themselves were removed to the crime lab to be booked as evidence. The registration card the couple had signed was turned over to Don Meyer in handwriting. The name was checked through our record bureau, through the phone book, and through the city directory, but when the leads were checked out, we were no further in knowing who the man was who'd taken the room with Mona Fenton. Word was left at the hotel for the handyman to contact us as soon as he returned. Word was also left that if the man who'd registered with the Fenton girl returned, we were to be called. 11:45 a.m., the men from the crime lab finished their investigation and returned to the office to compile the results. Frank and I left the hotel and drove out to the address listed on the girl's identification. It was a large white colonial home near one of the colleges. We rang the doorbell and waited.
Yes?
Mrs. Fenton?
Yes, that's right. What is it you want?
Police officers would like to talk to you.
Oh, come in.
Thank you.
It's about Mona, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
I knew something like this would happen. I knew it all along.
Beg your pardon?
When she first had this crazy idea, when she first told me about it, I knew. Kids, try to tell them. Just try, and they tell you that times have changed. They say that you're not keeping up with the time. They know it all. Nobody can tell them anything.
Well, what idea is this, Mrs. Fenton?
When she wanted to quit school and take the job in that drive-in restaurant, the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of. But nobody could talk her out of it. Lord knows I tried. I knew something like this would happen. I just knew it.
Yes, ma'am. Do you know any reason why your daughter might want to take her own life?
Are you a policeman, too?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Frank Smith. This is my partner, Joe Friday.
How do you do?
How are you, ma'am? Do you know any reason why your daughter might want to kill herself?
It's a little hard to say, Mr. Friday.
What's that?
Mona and I had quite an argument about her leaving school. It was one of those silly things that starts and gets all out of hand, you know. We both have pride, and neither one of us was going to back down.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Mona to talk to for over a month.
Does she live here, ma'am?
Yes, she does, Mr. Smith. But there's an outside entrance to her room. She comes and goes as she pleases. Doesn't eat her meals here, so I hardly ever see her.
Mm-hmm. Do you know if she's been under a doctor's care?
No, I don't think so. Why do you ask that?
Well, is your daughter a diabetic?
No, she isn't, Mr. Friday. Why all these questions about Mona and a doctor? What are you trying to find out?
Does your daughter have any special boyfriends, Mrs. Fenton?
She did have.
Who was that?
Richard Burdick, nice boy. Mona and he were planning to get married when they got out of school. Then, along with everything else, that just blew up. Everything seemed to go all at the same time.
Did your daughter have any trouble with this Burdick?
No, nothing you could call real trouble. It's just that they agreed to disagree. It was Mona's idea. Richard didn't want anything to change. He was very much in love with her.
Uh-huh.
Does he know about this?
I don't think so, Miss Fenton. We haven't told him.
I don't know what he's going to do when he hears about it. It's going to hit him awfully hard. He's the sensitive type.
Does your daughter have any close friends that she might confide in?
I suppose she does. She's talked about some of the girls where she worked.
Would you give us their names, please?
Oh, yes, I will. I'll write them down for you, those I can remember.
All right, fine. Has your daughter been in good spirits lately?
As far as I know, yes. She's always seemed happy enough when I saw her. I told you we haven't said much more than hello the last month, but she seemed happy.
Mm-hmm. You said that she broke up with this Burdick boy. Is that right?
Yes.
When was that?
6 weeks, 2 months ago.
You know what caused it?
The job, all the other things. Mona kept making dates with him and then breaking them at the last minute. I guess Richard just got tired of being stood up.
Well, did he and your daughter have any arguments that you know of?
No. They just decided that it wouldn't work out for them. They just decided to stop seeing each other.
Did your daughter have any other steady boyfriends? Anyone that she saw quite a bit of, maybe?
Well, there was one boy. He was quite a bit older than Mona. She saw a lot of him the last couple of weeks.
You know who he was?
No, I never met him. I only saw him once.
What if you could describe him for us?
No, I'm afraid I can't. He drove by for Mona one night, going to pick her up for a date. Parked out in front and honked the horn.
I see.
I went to the front door to tell him to come in. Mona wasn't ready yet, but he wouldn't. Just sat out there and waited. I didn't get a good look at him.
Could you describe the car for us?
Not good. It was one of those foreign cars, a convertible. I think it might have been a Jaguar. I'm not sure about that, though.
But you're sure it wasn't an American automobile?
Yes, I'm sure about that.
All right. How about the color of the car? Can you tell us that?
It was awfully dark out there. I'm not sure. I'd rather not say, officer, if I can't be sure. You understand that. I wouldn't want to tell you something and then have it turn out to be wrong. You can understand that, can't you?
Yes, ma'am, of course.
Did you see Mona this morning?
Yes, we did.
Is she all right?
They think so, yes.
Aren't you sure?
Well, when we talked to the doctor, they were doing everything they could. They seemed to think that she was going to be all right.
Thank God. It's so hard, Mr. Friday, to know that your child is sick, that she tried to kill herself, to want to go to her and not be able to. It's so hard.
Try to take it easy if you can, Miss Fenton. If you'll just give us the names of the girls that she might know, we'll be on our way.
Yes, I'll write them for you.
Thank you.
Excuse me?
Shirley?
Hello? Yes, it is. What? Yes, they're here. Just a moment. It's for you.
I'll get it, Joe.
I'll get those names for you, Mr. Friday.
All right, fine. Did your daughter ever refer to this man in the foreign car by name?
No, I don't think she did. All I know is that whenever she went out with him, it was the big date of the bunch.
How often did she see him?
Maybe a couple of times a week. Might have been more. I had no way of knowing what she was doing. She kept pretty much to herself when she met him, but I could tell he was the big thing in her life. He was it.
Joe?
Yeah.
See a minute?
Yes. Excuse me, Miss Fenton.
I'll finish this list.
Thank you.
Call was from Jack Smyers at the office.
Yeah.
Just removed her to the general hospital.
Yeah.
She had a relapse. They don't think she's going to live.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
There are good reasons why thousands of people are changing to Chesterfield every day. Why Chesterfield is the largest selling two-way cigarette in America. Why Chesterfield is best for me and best for you. People these days want facts. When you want people to use your product, you have to tell them what effect it has on people who do use it regularly. That's why a doctor has examined for almost 2 years a large group of Chesterfield smokers. 45% of them have, on the average, been smoking Chesterfields for well over 10 years. What is the effect on these people from smoking Chesterfield? No adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses, says the doctor. Consider Chesterfield's record with these smokers, with millions of other smokers throughout America. Another good reason for you to change to Chesterfield. Regular or king size, Chesterfield is best for me, best for you.
We obtained the name of the drive-in restaurant where the Fenton girl was employed. We also got the names of the girls that she worked with and the address of her boyfriend, Richard Burdick. Mrs. Fenton also gave us a list of names of persons who might be able to aid us in the investigation. Under further questioning, the mother was still unable to furnish us with a motive for her daughter's attempt to take her own life. The apparent lack of a motive, or any type of a suicide note, coupled with the bruise on the girl's chin, made the likelihood of foul play more than possible. 12:57 p.m. We left the Fenton home and drove over to the drive-in. We stopped on the way and put in a call to the office. There still hadn't been any report of the handyman at the hotel, the only person who could give us a description of the man who'd registered at the place with the Fenton girl. When we got to the drive-in, we asked about a Peggy Greigson, one of the girls on the list. After a few minutes, the girl came over to our car.
You want to see me?
You Peggy Greigson?
Yeah, why?
We'd like to ask you some questions about Mona Fenton.
Who are you guys?
Police officers. We'd just like to talk to you.
I got to get it okayed with the manager. I'm on duty now, lunchtime. Pretty busy. I got to get it okayed.
I'll take care of it.
All right, fine.
I'll check with the manager, Joe.
Right.
Hope this isn't going to take long. I got a couple of customers waiting for orders.
My partner will take care of it.
Well, ain't the manager knowing that worries me. It's the tips they're going to leave. Make what I do, and the tips are important.
Yes, ma'am.
What's all this about Mona, anyway? What are the cops after her for?
Well, she tried to kill herself this morning.
Mona?
Yes.
Why? Why'd you do a thing like that?
Well, we thought maybe you could help us there.
Why, me? I haven't got anything to do with it.
Well, we understand you're pretty friendly with it.
Well, sure, I was a friend of Mona's, but I don't know anything about no suicide. I don't know anything about it, and I don't want to.
Do you know any reason she might try to take her own life?
Not a reason in the world. Not Mona.
Do you know if she was under a doctor's care for any reason?
No. I mean, I don't know. She didn't say anything about it, never said a word. Was she?
Well, that's what we're trying to find out. Can you think of any enemies she had? Anybody who might have wanted to hurt her?
How far is this going to go?
Well, how do you mean, miss?
I mean, who's going to hear about this? Who's going to hear the answers I'm going to give you?
Well, no one. Now, what do you got for us?
Well, I'll give you this for free. If anything happened to Mona, you go talk to Dick Burdick. Talk to him. He'll be able to tell you.
Why do you say that?
Because it's true. No other reason. He's a real bum. You ask me, I think there's something wrong with him. You know, in the head.
Would you have any reason to say that?
All the reason in the world. Poor girl, this bum all the time coming around giving her trouble. All the time telling her how he's going to kill her and anybody that comes near her.
Burdick said that to Miss Fenton, did he?
Half a dozen times. Wasn't more than a week ago. Mona told me she told him off, told him to get lost. She wanted any part of him, to leave her alone. He made a big scene. Mona told me all about it. One day this Terry drove in here. Got one of those flashy foreign cars.
The Jaguar?
I think so, yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Well, one day he drove into the place. Mona took care of him. I guess he liked Mona. He kept coming back, always parked in her station.
Anyway, this Burdick kid found out about it. Wasn't anything for him to worry about, but he made a big thing about it. Told Mona she was supposed to stop seeing Terry. Said if she didn't, he was going to cause real trouble.
Did he say what he was going to do?
Well, I think he was kidding. I don't think he really meant it. He's just a kid.
What did he say?
I really don't think he meant it.
Well, all right. Now, what did he say to her?
Said if he found them together again, kill them both.
We talked to the other girls in the drive-in. From them, we got the same story about the scenes that Richard Burdick had created. We got more information about the threats that he'd made against the Fenton girl and Terry Hamilton. From one of the girls, we got the address of Hamilton. 2:45 p.m. We left the drive-in and drove over to the address of the girl's boyfriend, Richard Burdick. We talked to the landlady. She told us that the Burdick boy had regular habits. He paid his rent on time. He never had any visitors. She told us that he wasn't in his room at that time, but she said that she'd let us in. In her company, we went upstairs. She unlocked the door, and Frank and I went in. Want to check the bedroom? I'll take the kitchen.
Yeah.
There's nothing out there. How'd you do?
Well, looks like we're a little late.
What?
His clothes are gone.
We checked the room further. Every indication was that Richard Burdick had left the apartment in a hurry. We talked to the landlady again. She could give us no reason for his disappearance. She gave us the name of his employer. We put in a call to them, but they told us that Burdick had failed to show up for work that day. 4:15 p.m. We put in a call to the hotel on Grand Avenue, but the handyman still hadn't returned and there'd been no word from him. We went back to the office and checked the name Richard Burdick through R&I, but we found no criminal record for anybody answering his description. We put out a local and an APB on him. At 4:39 p.m., we got a call from General Hospital telling us that the Fenton girl had regained consciousness and that we could talk to her. Frank and I left the office and traveled Code 2 out to the hospital. The doctor on duty told us that the girl was out of danger, but that she was very weak. He asked us not to get her excited, and he led us into her room. Miss Fenton?
Yes, who are you?
Police officers.
Why can't you leave me alone? Go away.
Just a couple of questions we'd like to ask you.
I don't want to talk to anybody. Why didn't you leave things the way they were? Why didn't you leave me alone?
Well, you had a lot of people worried, miss.
No reason for it. Be better all the way around if things had happened the way I planned them.
And you did try to kill yourself.
Yes.
Who was with you in that hotel room?
You mean Mr. Morris?
Yeah.
It was Terry. It was always Terry. He was going to marry me, then he didn't. He said he would, and he didn't.
That why you did what you did?
Yes.
You use narcotics, Miss Fenton?
Hmm?
You use narcotics?
Yes, that was Terry's idea, too. I think that's all he wanted with me, just to get me hooked so I'd have to do what he said. I think that was the reason.
How about this Richard Burdick?
What about him?
Do you have anything to do with you deciding to take your own life?
In a lot of ways. The biggest mistake I ever made was leaving Richard. I thought it was smart, real smart. I was going to show him. Terry said he'd marry me, said he was in love with me.
He get you started on narcotics?
Yeah. At first it wasn't so bad. I loved him, really I did. Then when I had to have the fixes, he changed. Told me he couldn't give it to me anymore, that I was going to have to pay for it. I tried to tell him that I loved him, but I wanted to be with him. That's why I went to the hotel to talk it over. Try to come to an understanding, some kind of an understanding.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he didn't want to have anything to do with me, that he wanted no part of me anymore. Said that I was going to have to pay for the H from now on. I didn't have any way to pay for it. He said it wasn't any of his business.
Is he a user?
Yes. All so stupid, all so stupid.
Ma'am?
The whole thing, I had it real good all the way around. And then I went ahead and ruined everything, tore it all down. Even if I'd have killed myself, it would have been no answer. Not the right answer, anyway. I know that. I know it real well.
All right. Can you tell us where we can find this Terry?
You bet I can. I want to see him feel like I do. I want him to know what it's like.
Will you be willing to meet with him? Make a buy of narcotics for us?
You name the time, I'll be there. I'll be there if I have to crawl.
All right. You better get some rest now.
I guess so. I'm pretty tired. Did you see my mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Is she real mad at me?
No, I don't think she is.
Would you call her? Ask her to come and see me. Tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I want to see her.
Now, she'll be glad to hear that.
I hope so. I got so much to tell her and Richard. So much to tell them both.
All right, Miss Fenner. We'll get in touch with her.
And you tell me when you want me to call Terry. You tell me.
All right, we will.
Terrible thing, isn't it?
What's that?
Terry. He's been around a long time. Must be other girls in the same fix all because of him. Girls who have a bad habit and have to do what he says. Girls like me, terrible. Nobody knows how many.
Yes, ma'am.
Where's it going to end?
When you meet him.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 10th, trial was held in Department 98 Superior Court of the State of California in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Veneman. Obviously, it would be impossible for you to question all the Chesterfield smokers that you'd run into, yet we're convinced that you want to know what effect the product has on people who do use it regularly. Well, Chesterfield tells you. Now, you've heard the report from the doctor who's been examining Chesterfield smokers. No adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield. I think it would make good sense for you to change to Chesterfield today. Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular or king size. You'll find Chesterfield's best for you.
Terry Norris Hamilton was tried and convicted of violation of the State Narcotics Act, a felony, 1 count. He received sentence as prescribed by law. Violation of the State Narcotics Act, a felony, is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of from 1 to 5 years. Mona Irene Fenton pled guilty to the same charge and was placed on probation for a period of 3 years with the provision that she be placed under the care of a competent psychiatrist. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Vic Rodman, Virginia Gregg, Gene Tatum. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Announcing the best of filter cigarettes, L&M filters. The L&M filter is entirely pure, harmless to health. Filters out the heavy particles in the smoke, gives you more flavor, less nicotine. L&M filters and Fatima with tips of perfect cork, both made and guaranteed by the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett & Myers Tobacco Company.
Hear John Cameron Swayze and the news next on the NBC Radio Network.
This one's about Pete Kelly. This one's about him. It's about the world he goes around in. It's about the big music and the big trouble and the big roar of the 20s. So when they ask you, you turn right around and speak up. You tell them this one's about the blues. Pete Kelly's blues.
Pete
Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Jim Moser, music by Dick Cathcart.
Number 417 Cherry Street is a standard speakeasy. The help is paid in cash, and the books are burned at the end of the month. Every week we use 30 cases of booze and a pound of coffee. After salaries, there's gas and lights and a payoff to the Prohibition boys. In Kansas City, the price is good. For $100, they steer in the drunks and make one rate a year. The place is run by George Lupo. He's a quiet little guy who wouldn't give you the sweat off an ice pitcher. The beer's green and the gin's as young as yesterday, and the music's loud. I'm Pete Kelly. I play cornet. We start every night about 10 o'clock, and we play till they sweep out the broken glass. We don't draw any customers. We don't chase any away. The music is straight New Orleans. It started in the front parlors of Storyville and drifted north. Some of it laid over in Chicago. That's where I got on and rode it out here with a piano player named Rosie. He's still with the band, but last night he was barely with it. We took a break about 11. Rosie was late getting back. Might as well have stayed in there because he kept looking around the room, and the way the piano sounded, you'd think he had on a catcher's mitt. All right, let's take 5, huh?
Sorry, Pete, I'm a little behind tonight.
You haven't left the station. What's the matter?
I'm nervous. Take a look around. Near the door, back this way. Place is full of cops.
Forget it. Have Jake open a couple of windows. Take a walk. Get yourself in shape.
Now till I find out which way to fall, these boys are here for heavy duty. I'll learn that out in the kitchen.
All right, let's duck behind the stand. Come on. All right, what about it?
You know Dutch Courtney?
I drink his beer, that's all.
Somebody shot Courtney up tonight out near Highway 40.
Well, that's too bad. He'd have drawn a good crowd downtown. Who killed him?
I don't know, but whoever he is, he's in for a big night. The police are trying for him, so is his partner.
Well, let him play. How does our place fit into it?
I couldn't guess. We'll soon find out. See the big guy who just walked in the door?
Yeah. Boss cop?
Almost. It's Eddie Newman, Dutch Courtney's partner.
Yeah, come on. We better get back in the stand.
All right, won't be long now. Hot, dry up.
How's your old man?
All right, hold on now. Here she comes.
All right, Rosie. Yeah. All right, fellas, let's hit it.
Happy New Year. Goodbye, 1921. Hello, 1922.
Yeah.
My name's Newman. Come outside.
Oh, we're due to play.
I'll hear you later. Come on. You hear about Dutch Courtney? They picked him out of the mud tonight.
It means nothing to me.
It does to me. Dutch was a friend.
Well, if it'll help, try.
I'm short on time, Kelly. Give me a rundown on Gus Trudeau.
There's nothing to say. He played for a while and he went to the boneyard.
You know him. You know his sister.
You'll have to ask Courtney about that. I haven't seen her since the old days.
You know Gus well enough to figure he didn't like Dutch Courtney. He didn't like him 1 pound.
Well, you can't blame him. Dutch sidestepped and paid Trudeau's way to jail.
Bookkeeping. I don't know anything about it.
All right, look, Newman, you're on the wrong track. Now, this is a job killing. Your boy got frisky and somebody sent down a Chicago gun. The price tag shows.
Sorry, Trudeau's my pick.
What did he hit him with, a high-powered rifle? Gus Trudeau's away up in Leavenworth.
He used to be. Gus went over the wall this morning. When he shows up, I want him.
Well, why pick me?
I ask around. He'll head for you. He's broke. He'll need train fare.
No, not if he killed Dutch Courtney. Somebody will give him a railroad. When they dragged the Blues out of the back room and moved them up front, there were 3 of the best leading the parade. They were all blowing cornets. One was Buddy Bolden, one was King Oliver, and the other was Gus Trudeau. There was a lot of music, but not much man. He picked me up on a union date on the south side of Chicago and taught me how to play. He got into me for a Boston 3-star cornet and gin for the rest of his life. When he got down to running errands for Dutch Courtney, I left for Kansas City. A couple of months later, Courtney needed a patsy, and Trudeau was it. He wound up with a 5-year stand at Leavenworth. But Gus never felt right unless he was in trouble. Only this time he cut me in for a piece, too. Well, I picked up a drink at the bar and fought my way back to the stand.
Anything wrong?
No. You finished the set?
One more to go. Sensation.
All right, let's do it.
What's wrong, Pete?
A friend of ours killed Dutch Courtney. All right, sensation. 1, 2. Let's get off for a while, huh?
Who'd you say killed Dutch Courtney?
Gus Trudeau.
And what, Prayer? Trudeau's in jail.
No, not since this morning.
Which one of you is Kelly?
I am.
A friend of yours in town wants to see you right away.
Who is it?
He's waiting up at your room.
Did he give a name?
Just Gus.
An hour later, I was still looking for an out. The muscle man on the side door went to the bar a little after 2 a.m. Our bass man, Red, loaned me his keys, and I slipped out. I got on to 12th Street, picked up his Erskine coupe, and headed up for my room. All the way out Grand Avenue, the streetlights were spending the rest of New Year's alone. Some guys with wide brooms were pushing at the confetti, and the fog was loafing down in Washington Square. When I got to my place, I parked the car in back and headed up the stairs. The college kids down at the end of the hall had their door open. The party sounded young. I was looking for Gus when I opened the door, but he had a substitute. I knew her way back at 18th and Hall Street. She was pretty and the fastest freight in town. It must have been a long time ago, because somewhere along the line she'd run into a batch of Wednesday weekends and she wasn't pretty anymore.
Hello, Pete.
Where's your brother?
I don't know where Gus is. That's why I'm here. I knew you'd be the first one he'd come to.
Yeah. Now what about the break?
I was up to see him 2 weeks ago. He didn't say anything about it. Pete, we got to help him.
I've been hearing that since I met him.
You're the only one who remembers, Pete. You're the only one who cares.
No, a lot of people care now. Eddie Newman wants him. The cops are looking hard.
I got to find him before they do. You got to help Pete.
He was supposed to meet me. That's all I know. I'll wait for him.
He needs a hand, Pete. He's in deep.
Yeah, well, he's always in deep. Now, you do what you want, Madge. I ran front for Gus too long. I'm out of the habit now.
Please.
Gus wants cover. He can look for a police station.
Gus can get away. Some money and a car, that's all he needs.
It's going to take more than that to get out. Every cop in town's working tonight.
Give him a chance, Pete. Help him.
No, thanks.
Gus has been good to you, Pete. He taught you music. He's been nothing but good to you.
I'm paid up. I bought his gin for him for 5 years.
Well, then do it for me. What I used to be worth.
Now, Madge, it's old. That was 80 years ago. I can't help Gus.
Do it for me. I haven't changed that much.
I have.
You're still the same.
You've been working at it.
You remember.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the same, Petey. It's just like the first time.
You never had a first time. How about a drink?
Will you help me, Pete? Find Gus. Get him out of town.
$10. That's as far as I go. $10.25. Now I'm getting off.
Where are you going?
Back to work. Tell Gus to take care of himself.
Hold it right there, Pete.
You stayed too long in Chicago, Madge.
I bought the gun in Kansas City. Don't go for the door.
You better give it to Gus. He may need it.
We're going to find him. You're going to help me.
All right, come on. Give me the gun, Madge.
If I shoot, it'll hurt.
Put it away, Madge. Come on, drop it.
Who is she?
We'll trade. Who are you?
Cage. I work downtown homicide. Who you got on your floor?
Madge Trudeau.
Tell me about her.
I knew her in Chicago. After that, I heard she did favors for Dutch Courtney. After that, I don't know.
She tired? What's she doing there?
Looking for Gus Trudeau.
Oh. Where is Gus?
I don't know. I've been asked that twice tonight. Now, this is the third time around. I don't know.
You probably will.
Why? Why do I have to get into this?
Because you're Gus Trudeau's friend.
Well, then let him get another one. I'm tired of the job.
I don't blame you, fella. You're going to come out of this with a lot of trouble.
For instance?
I'll make it simple. If Gus Trudeau shows and you hide him, we'll book you for aiding and abetting.
Yeah.
If he shows and you turn him over to Newman, we'll send you up as accessory to murder.
Yeah.
If he shows you turn him over to us, Newman will probably kill you.
Well, that's good. In the meantime, what do you guys do for a living?
We're busy. We couldn't prove Newman killed you. It's after 2. Get back to that club.
And leave you here?
I got work to do.
Like what?
This woman. See if I can get anything out of her.
Yeah, it's been done before, but I'll bet 10-1 in your case.
Gone back. I'll tidy up here.
All right, good night, cop. Leave the rugs. I left Cage standing in the middle of the room looking down at Madge Trudeau. He didn't watch me leave, but I figured it wouldn't be too long before he turned that gleam back on me. I went back to 417, and I ran into our piano man, Rosie, outside in the alley, using a smoke for a chaser.
Happy holidays, Petey. How's Gus?
I didn't see him.
An odd hour of the morning, Petey, but I figure the fates are hard at work shaping up a few sordid futures.
Cut the piano, huh?
You've got a very limited selection.
What do you mean?
Before the general citizenry sits down to breakfast, you may get a reward, the eternal kind.
Come on, what is it?
I've got it all figured for the two of us, Petey. Today we'll spend our time dodging destinies. We'll hit for some small back room. I'll bring the bottled goods. We'll live on gin and sauerkraut and make the walls sit up and listen. One horn, one piano. The blues, Petey. We'll ride 'em into the middle of next year.
All right, throw the bottle away. Will you just set me straight, huh?
Across the river, there's 2 places, the High Life Club or Fat Annie's.
You sure he's there?
That's what the word is. I'll pass the hat down at the Union Hall for both of them.
Is Gus alone over there?
Right now, but there's going to be a crowd.
What do you mean?
I told you.
Yeah.
When Eddie Newman gets back, I got to tell him.
Well, I knew it was a silly move. Newman had 100 guns on tour for Gus. Cage and the boys from headquarters were standing by for seconds. Helping Gus Trudeau was out of order, but I couldn't get one thing out of my mind. If Gus did kill Courtney, why didn't he pick up some travel money before he did it? It was backwards. If you're going to hang up your pants, you take them off first. Well, it was about 3 a.m. when I got down to the river and crossed over to the Kansas side. The High Life Club was smoked up and had a little of everything except Gus Trudeau. I looked in the kitchen and tried a back room, and then I went to the bar to see if I could drum up some talk. I had one taker, a boy with wavy black hair. He got up from a table of 3 others, walked over and sat down next to me.
Well, all right. Come in here often?
Well, this is the first time.
Welcome. I'll buy you a drink?
Well, I'm all set. You try one yourself.
I think drinking's all right, but I hate people that drink too much. Don't you?
You work here?
Well, not regular. Sometimes I dance when the other act doesn't show up. You here alone or you waiting for something?
I'm waiting. For a guy named Gus Trudeau.
You running his phone?
I'm it. Where is he?
We left a while ago. I'm not sure where he went.
Well, you get sure. It's important.
We're next to someone named Bessie.
All right, hold it.
What do you hear, Kelly?
Get away, Newman. Try another stool.
This'll do.
Well, if he asks you to leave, I think you should leave.
Oh, well, a choir boy, that's nice.
Leave him alone.
Who is it?
I never saw him before.
What does he know about Trudeau?
Nothing.
Now, don't kid me. You're not here to spend the time of day. You're here for Trudeau. You little friend. Where's Gus Trudeau?
I don't have to talk to you. I'm a guest in this place.
You're not anymore. Climb down and head for that door, both of you.
You can't make us do that. We're not going to leave.
It's a split vote, Buster. I don't like the way he pushes.
That's right. Just walk. I'll bet you look good.
I knew right then as we walked across the floor, I knew Eddie Newman wasn't going to leave him alone. He was going to pick at him, whether he knew anything about Gus Trudeau or not. It was going to get messy, and the boy with the nice eyes was going to help. Outside it wasn't snowing anymore, but the ground was covered right down to the river. There was a moon out, and it looked all right if you like nature.
We walked over toward a bunch of trees. Newman's car was parked there. It was a black touring sedan with a strong-arm guy in the back seat. There was another one sitting on the running board. He had a machine gun across his lap.
This'll do. All right, now let's hear about Gus Trudeau.
I don't know anything about him. This man and I were just talking.
Go easy, Newman. I never saw him before.
Did you always talk to strangers or bet he does?
It's none of your business.
Where's Gus Trudeau?
I wouldn't tell you. Suppose I knew, I wouldn't tell you.
Yes, you would.
You keep your hands off of me.
Stop pressing, Newman. You don't care about Trudeau now. You just don't like this guy.
Stay out, Kelly. Come here.
Hey, let go. Let go.
Stop screeching. I'll break your arm.
You keep your hands off of you. You pig, you dirty pig.
You're in trouble, fella. Shut up.
Well, he is a pig. His hands are all dirty and his teeth are dirty. I bet even his clothes are dirty. All of them.
Now lay there. All right, Dave, move in here. Back away, Kelly. You're up, choir boy.
No. Please, mister, do something. Don't let a thing like this happen.
It already has, Buster.
No, you can't.
Tell me, Newman, did you ever find out about Gus Trudeau? Newman didn't answer. He climbed into the car and they drove off. Well, I stayed there for a minute to look at the guy in the snow. His face was unmarked. I did him a favor. I rolled him over so it showed in the moonlight. I knew his mother'd want him to look real good the night Eddie Newman's chopper squad cut him down. Well, it was getting cold out, and the name Bessie had to mean Fat Annie's place up the river on the Kansas side. I made it there and found Bessie. She was back at the piano, wandering around somewhere in the middle of the blues. You couldn't miss that voice if she took up yodeling. Bessie Smith.
I've got those Kansas City blues since my man has gone away. Hi, Pete.
Bessie, what do you know?
Round back, Pete. You go up the stairs, the loft, way up there at the top.
All right, thanks, Bessie.
All right.
I felt my way out and around back and up a couple of flights of stairs that didn't creak in time with the music. There was a door at the top, and I pushed it open. He was hunched back on a pile of hay in the corner. He sat up and blinked a couple of times. There wasn't much left, just the frame. And rattling around inside, a lot of tired echoes that wouldn't lay down and die. There was an empty gin bottle on the floor.
Petey, I knew you'd get here.
Yeah, well, they didn't make it easy.
You're looking good, Petey. Everything's 6 to and even, huh?
You forget easy, Gus. You're in a jam. You broke jail.
Yeah, I told him all about you up there, Petey. I told him there's another Gus Trudeau blowing down to Kansas City. I'm proud of you, Pete.
Yeah, sure, Gus.
You're just like me, Pete. I told him all about you. You're the only good thing I ever done. I knew you'd come through. A car and some money, Pete, it'll do everything. It'll make it all new. Is it too much to ask? You tell me, Pete.
They want you for Dutch Courtney.
You know better, Pete. I didn't kill Dutch.
You had a reason.
Did I? Forget.
He hung a frame on you, Gus. 5 years worth, remember?
I didn't kill Dutch. Get me a drink, huh, boy?
No, not tonight.
Don't preach at me. Just something to help me over.
Oh, yeah. Now, come out of the fog, Gus. You're going to get a drink or a train ticket from me. You take your pick, because it's the last time around.
Just listen to that. Bessie's still going strong, ain't she?
Yeah, and so are the cops. I got one idea for you, Gus. Get moving.
You remember Chicago, Petey? You and Madge. Chicago always liked me.
You checked out, Gus. Biderbeck's got your chair.
They'll remember me and you, Petey. I found you when you were nothing.
What are you going to do? Where are you going?
I got it all set up. It's big and brand new. A place in Mexico.
Yeah?
The guy who bunked in my cell with me, his mother runs a place down there. Be just like it used to be.
Yeah, well, you won't get there on a gin bottle.
I got it set up, boy. Car and some money. It's not much to ask. You haven't got a drink, have you?
You can drink in Mexico. Where are you dreaming up the car and the dough?
It's fixed, boy. You just see this guy and tell him I'm ready. Abe Gaffney. He's got a place on Pershing Road. You know it?
Yeah, I know it. Abe's doing all this?
Just tell him I'm ready.
All right.
How's Madge, Pete?
She's all right.
Come and see me, huh, Pete? It's hot in Mexico.
It gets hot here.
What's the matter, Pete? You ain't sore, are you?
No, I ain't sore. I'm just tired. I'll tell Gaffney that I'm checking out. Goodbye, Gus.
You're not getting too big for your old friends, are you, boy?
Friends are like everything else, Gus.
Yeah?
They wear out on you. Well, it wasn't any different than a dozen times before. I knew there wasn't very much left, but I wasn't looking for a second-rate ghost with an empty gin bottle. I crossed the river back to the Missouri side and headed down Main Street and then swung over toward Abe Gaffney's place on Pershing Road. It was pushing close to 5:30 a.m. The sun wasn't up yet, and the night was too tired to care. I pulled up in front of the Murad sign in front of Gaffney's. Inside, a counterman with pimples and coffee was leaning on last night's paper. A beaded curtain shut off the hallway that led back to Gaffney's room.
You want some?
Yeah, Gaffney.
Not here.
Where do I find him?
No, I don't.
I was supposed to meet him here.
If so?
Look, this is Gaffney's place. Where is he?
I told you.
Now listen, Junior, maybe you think you do a good imitation of Calvin Coolidge, but I want an answer. Where's Gaffney?
What's your name?
Kelly.
You could have saved an argument. This way. Through here.
When do you go to bed, Kelly?
You still looking, Newman?
I'm still asking. Where's Gus?
I don't think you'd give me time to answer.
There's a good reason why I let you walk away tonight. I gave you 2 hours all by yourself on the Kansas side. I don't think you threw him away. You got a line on Gus Trudeau. I want it.
I got nothing for you.
But don't be silly, Pete. The cops get him or I do. He goes either way.
You get no help from me.
I don't want no help. I want Gus. Now, come on. Come on. I'll make you part of the wallpaper.
You better send for Dave.
I don't need him.
I think you do. Now, don't bother to get up. I'm leaving.
I don't believe it. Wasn't your turn, Kelly.
When I got up off the floor, the room was cold and the lights were out. Newman was gone, but I knew he was still in business. I knew if he didn't find Gus Trudeau this trip, he'd come back for me. I got into Red's car and followed the radiator cap back to 417. I found Rosie back at the stand having breakfast.
Did you bring an egg, Petey? I hate to drink on an empty stomach.
Newman been back here?
I haven't noticed. You look abused.
Yeah. Anybody say anything?
You were missed. You heard the news.
What's that?
They found the guy who got Dutch Courtney, a fellow by the name of Doyle, East St. Louis. Cops got the goods on him, gun, fingerprints, the works.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long night. What was his beef with Dutch?
Doyle owned East St. Louis. Dutch wouldn't believe it.
Leave it to Gus. If there's a hole, he'll fall in it.
Makes it easier on him now, doesn't it? Newman will call his boys off now?
Well, somebody better tell him in a hurry.
Did you see Gus?
Yeah, I saw him. He's trying to get out of town.
Pete Kelly?
Yeah, that's right.
Abe Gaffney, Pete.
And you're a hard man to find.
Newman came in the front door. I went out the back. This won't take long. Car keys, money for Gus.
No, you got the wrong guy, Abe. I quit an hour ago.
Fight it out with yourself. The car's out in the alley. It's in great jam. Tell Gus it needs gas.
Wait a minute. You can take this stuff to Gus. You know where he is.
No, thanks. You take care of Gus. He's an old friend.
What's the matter with you?
I hardly knew him.
The clock over the bar was leaning on 6:15. We got back on the stand and started the last set. 80 pounds of stale cigarette smoke was holding up the ceiling and waving down on a dirty blue curtain over the dance floor. Behind the bar, one of the guys was wiping up. Two couples picked their way to the dance floor and pushed each other around a while. They finally gave up. Oh, the whole thing. It was all out of step. Wrinkled stockings, brown gardenias, torn paper hats, and Gus Trudeau. He walked in the door and stood off to one side, just back of the stand. All right, it's the last one. Blues and B flat. Same call tonight, 10 o'clock. You can pack up.
Hey, Pete. Petey, over here. I heard you. You sound good, Pete. It's just what I told him up there. You're on your way, boy.
All right, now you heard it, Gus. I got the money for you and the car keys. I'll see you, Gus, huh?
You know what I told him? Another Gus Trudeau's blowing down in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I only got one thing to tell you, Pete. Don't forget it. Play like you talk. Don't lie.
Happy New Year, Gus.
Oh, hi, Madge.
Hold it there, Pete. This is a family fight. Stay out.
I thought I took that gun away from you.
What's the matter, Madge? What are you doing?
No, don't tell me that talk, Gus. Dutch can't hear you.
What do you mean, Madge?
You killed him. You blew your top and you killed him, just like you did everything else for me. You and the gin and that cheap brass horn of yours. You spent us all, Pete and me, and you ran through the whole bunch till you got to Dutch.
Pete, I didn't do anything.
You killed Dutch Courtney. I loved him. I loved him enough to square it.
Well, you got it all wrong, Madge.
Goodbye, Gus. I'll tell him to throw your horn in after you.
Want to read the paper, Madge? You killed the wrong brother.
Stay away, Pete.
It's in the paper, Madge. Guy by the name of Doyle. He killed Dutch.
They're not sure, are they?
Yeah, they're sure.
Oh, what'll I do?
I got two things for you, Madge. And the car keys. And you see what you can do with 10 minutes start.
You didn't have anything more for Gus, did you, Pete?
No, I guess not.
Well, he made it.
Yeah, Gus finally got out of town.
Pete Kelly's Blues. Starring Jack Webb with story by Jim Norzier, music by Dick Cathcart. Scoring by Matty Matlock. Pete Kelly's Blues is based on characters created by Richard L. Breen.
This is NBC, the national broadcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. An elderly woman in your city has disappeared. There's no lead to where she's gone or why she left. Your job, find her.
It was Wednesday, July 14th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 9:47 a.m. when we got to 654 Kenmore Avenue.
Yes?
Miss Crocker?
It's Miss Crocker, but I'm her.
Police officers.
Oh, yeah, come here.
Thank you. It's my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh, how you doing, man? Just sit down there on the couch. Move that Afghan. I was laying down when you got here. Terrible thing. I just know it.
Yes, ma'am. If you tell us about it, please.
You just bet I will. First off, can I get you something? Maybe a cup of coffee, a little piece of cinnamon toast?
No, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. You change your mind, you just let me know.
Yes, we will. Now, if you just tell us about Miss Gillespie, please.
I hope if anything ever happens to me, I get this kind of service.
Yes, ma'am. Are you a friend of Mrs. Gillespie?
Her best. That's why I know something's happened to her.
Uh-huh.
She wouldn't just take off like this without telling me. Matter of fact, she didn't tell nobody. Just all of a sudden, she was gone.
All right, if you'd start right at the beginning and just tell us the whole story, please.
Well, Bertha Gillespie and me been friends for years.
I see.
Her and me been friends for years, ever since her husband died and she opened up the tea cozy. That's the little tea shop she has.
Yeah.
Nice place. She's done real good with it. All the ladies in the neighborhood go down there for afternoon tea. Serve those little tiny cake rolls with a pot of tea. Ladies' fingers, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, a couple of days ago, I went down there to see Bertha.
You know what day that was?
Hmm?
I said, do you know the exact date?
Oh, now, let's see. This is Wednesday. I guess it must have been Saturday. Yes, that's it, Saturday.
All right, would you like to go ahead, please?
Well, I went down to the tea cozy, and there was a sign right on the door telling how Bertha was sick and she'd gone away for a couple of days.
Was she in poor health?
Bertha?
Yes, ma'am.
Bertha was as strong as an ox. Nothing wrong with her. Besides that, I saw her only Friday night. She didn't say nothing to me about being sick, not a word.
I see.
That's what made me figure that there was something wrong. For the past 10 years, if there was anything on Bertha's mind, she told me about it. You suspect she did.
Well, isn't it possible that she just used the pretended illness as an excuse? That she just went away on a trip, maybe?
Oh, Bertha wouldn't do that.
Why do you say that?
Well, because she just wouldn't do it. Not with Saturday coming up. There isn't anything in the world that could make Bertha leave.
Well, what's happening Saturday?
Scrabble.
Beg pardon?
Scrabble. You know, the word game?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, the ladies in the neighborhood have a sort of club. We meet down at the cozy and play our tournaments. Bertha's the champion. Hasn't been anybody that can beat her real good. You know, not regular.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why she wouldn't leave. This Saturday was her first big match outside the club. Woman from West Los Angeles was coming out here to challenge her. Bertha's been in training all week. Well, she wouldn't just walk out on the match. I'm telling you, officers, there's something wrong.
Well, has Mrs. Gillespie any relatives here in Los Angeles?
No. No, she's got some people back east. Mississippi, I think.
Possible she might have left to go see them?
I told you. Not with the big match coming on. Ain't nothing in the world that could keep Bertha from playing in that. Nothing, and you believe it.
Yes, ma'am. Does she have any men friends?
Well, you mean romantic?
Yes.
Well, there's Chester, but that's not what I'd call a real romance. Bertha'd go out to the movies with him once in a while. Maybe he'd come over to the tea cozy of an evening, and they'd sit there and watch the television. But there'd always be somebody else there, mostly me. No, you couldn't say that it was any kind of a romance with Chester.
You have his address?
You going to talk to him?
Yes, we'll have.
It won't be any good. I already did. He don't know where Bertha is.
If you'll just give us the phone number of this Chester, we'll check on your friend.
Yeah, you check. You'll find out what I said is true.
Yes, ma'am.
I think somebody done Bertha in. She wouldn't just take off like this without telling me.
Well, now, ma'am, did she have any enemies in the neighborhood? Anybody that you think might want to do her harm?
No, not a soul, not a single one. Isn't anyone who didn't like her. Well, maybe Mrs. Lumen didn't care much for her, but I think that was kind of a jealous thing.
What do you mean?
Scrabble.
What was that?
Mrs. Lumen, Helen. She thought she could play the game. Then when she challenged Bertha to a match, it was pretty terrible. 4:57 to 2:14. Helen was pretty upset. She tried to make out like she was a good loser, kind of smiles and laughs. But I could tell. He didn't like being skunked.
Yes, ma'am. Can you think of any reason why anyone would want to harm Miss Gillespie?
Well, not right off unless it was for money.
What?
Last time I saw her, she was carrying a lot of cash money around with her.
Yeah.
$2,500.
10:33 a.m. We put in a call to missing persons detail and checked the name Bertha Gillespie through the file. There'd been no report filed on her, and her name did not appear in the Gaga file. We checked the name through R&I, but she had no criminal record in Los Angeles. 10:47 a.m. We drove by the Tea Cozy restaurant. On the front door, attached with cellophane tape, was a hand-lettered note reading, "Taking a short vacation. Watch for reopening." Through the glass pane, we could see the interior of the shop. Everything appeared to be in order. Frank and I checked the rear of the building, but from what we could see, there was nothing out of line. 11:28 a.m. We put in a call to the missing woman's boyfriend, Chester Avon. He told us that he talked to the Gillespie woman on the previous Friday night, and she'd appeared in good spirits and had said nothing about leaving. We checked at her bank. We found that she'd made a withdrawal from her savings account to the amount of $2,500. This left a balance of over $12,000 in the savings account, $6,000 in the checking account. The manager of the branch told us that he'd spoken with Mrs. Gillespie when she'd taken the money, and that she told him that she was thinking of taking a short vacation. We got in touch with Miss Crocker and told her what we'd found. We asked her if she wanted to file a missing persons report. She said that she'd wait until the end of the week, and if her friend hadn't returned by then, that she'd come into the office. A month passed before we heard from her again. On the morning of Friday, August 20th, she called to tell us that she still hadn't heard from Mrs. Gillespie and asked that we conduct a formal investigation. She came down to the office and filled out a Form 316. Frank and I drove out to the restaurant to check it again. It was exactly as it had been when we'd last seen it. We tried the doors and found that they were still locked. 1:43 p.m. We went back to the office.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Well, that's kind of high, isn't it? Yeah. Well, did your people check into it? I see. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Mr. Jones. If you find out anything, we'd appreciate it if you'd give us a call. Right. That's Michigan 5211, extension 2521. Yes, sir. Either Officer Frank Smith or Sergeant Joe Friday. That's right. Thanks for your help. Yes, indeed. Thank you. Goodbye. Well, that finishes up the utility calls.
Well, what do you got?
Telephone bill for the past 30 days is just the service charge, no toll calls. Same with the electric lights.
Uh-huh. They received payment in the last month, did they?
No. Telephone company says they haven't been paid in over 60 days. Says they've sent a couple of reminders.
Uh-huh.
Only reason they haven't cut off the service is the bills have always been paid promptly in the past. I checked with their business office. Girl tells me the bill usually runs around $10.
Possible, then, that the phone hasn't been used at all, huh?
Well, it shapes up that way. Same with the lights. The one thing doesn't match.
Yeah, what's that?
The water bill. I checked with them. Normal bill's about $4 for the place.
Yeah.
The last 60 days, it's been $79.
That's a lot of water, isn't it?
Yeah. I talked to one of the engineers at the company, a fellow named Jones.
Yeah, what'd he tell you?
Well, he told me there was only one thing that could cause a water jump like that.
Yeah.
A water tap.
Yeah.
Running for about a month.
2:06 p.m. We called the bank where Mrs. Gillespie had her accounts. The head cashier told us that since the date she'd withdrawn the $2,500, there'd been no deposits or withdrawals made. We telephoned the missing woman's friend, Mrs. Winifred Crocker. From her, we got the name and address of the owner of the building where the Tea Cozy restaurant was located. Frank and I signed out of the office and drove out to see him. The address we'd been given was a large house in the Silver Lake district. We rang the bell to the front door, but we got no answer. We walked around to the back of the property to a large garage.
Now, Joe, if we find this guy, we can find out if she gave him some indication she was going to leave.
Yeah. Sounds like there's somebody there.
Yeah.
In here, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
We'd like to see Virgil Medina.
I'm him. What do you want?
Police officers. We'd like to check out a few things with you if we can.
What about?
Well, it might be easier if we talked inside.
I got no truck with the cops. I got none and I want none. Now you can just ask your questions from out there.
All right, sir. That's the way you want it.
Well, that's the way it's going to be. Now get your questions asked and go about your business.
You own a building located at 687 Kenmore Avenue?
Why?
Look, Mr. Medina, we're trying to conduct an investigation. We'd like to have your cooperation. If you don't want to talk here, we can go downtown.
I own the building. Why?
You have a tenant named Bertha Gillespie?
Yes. Why?
When did you see her last?
Well, about a month ago, at least that.
Do you remember the exact date?
I don't know. It's a long time ago. What's all this about Bertha anyway? What are all these questions? You got something you want to know about her? Go ask her yourself. Anything I can tell you that she can't, go talk to her. Leave me alone.
Where'd you see her last?
Down at the restaurant.
What time of day?
Nighttime.
Would you try to remember what date it was? It's pretty important.
Wait a minute. I'll try to figure. See, I guess it must have been on a Saturday night. Yes, I'd say it was Saturday, the 10th of July.
Do you have any way of being sure that that's the date?
Now, look, you come around here asking questions, and I'm giving you an answer. You can take it or leave it. I got no way of being sure. That's the day I think I saw her last.
She seem in good spirits?
What do you mean by that?
Well, sir, was she happy or was there something worrying her?
Well, she seemed happy to me. I didn't pay a lot of attention. What are you cops trying to find out? You come right out and tell me what you want, and maybe I'll have the answer. But I haven't got time to stand around and waste time with you. Now, you tell me why you're asking these questions, or you can leave.
Mrs. Gillespie's been reported missing. We're trying to trace it.
Well, who done that? Who says she's missing?
Well, that's not the important point here. We got the report. We've got to check it out.
Well, whoever told you that's crazy? If Bertha's gone, there's a good reason for it. I guess she just finally got fed up and left town.
What do you mean?
She made a mint of money from that place. Regular mint. She used to tell me that when she had enough, she was going to just take off and see the world. Go around the whole world on a tramp steamer. She told me when she signed the last piece that she thought this would be the last one. She ain't missing. She just gone.
Did she say anything to you about the fixtures in the place?
What do you mean?
Well, you know, the furniture, all the fixtures. They belong to her, don't they?
Yes, I guess so.
Will she make any arrangements to dispose of them?
Not to me, she didn't.
Wonder if you have a key to the place.
The Tea Cozy?
Yes, sir.
No, I don't.
You own the building and you don't have a key to the restaurant?
Well, no, I had one, but I lost it. Never had another one made. Why? What do you want with the key?
We want to check the premises.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you got no right to do that. The place belongs to Mrs. Gillespie. You got no right to go tromping around in there.
Afraid we're going to have to.
Then you're going to do it without my say-so.
All right, sir, if that's the way it's going to be.
I'm telling you, she ain't going to like it. She ain't going to like you going to the place when she isn't there.
Well, we take that up with her.
Well, you better, because I'm not going to take any responsibility for it.
We're not asking you to, Mr. Medina.
I'll give you this, though.
Yes, sir, what's that?
You go nosing around, you're liable to come up with something that you ain't looking for.
Well, thanks for your help, Mr. Medina.
Don't mention it. Just remember what I told you about finding trouble when you ain't looking for it.
Well, that doesn't happen often.
Huh?
We're looking for it. 3:14 p.m. Frank and I drove back to the Tea Cozy restaurant on Kenmore Avenue. We checked the front door of the place. It was locked. While Frank covered one side of the building, I took the other side, looking for open windows.
How about it?
No luck.
Me neither. What do we do now?
Well, we'll have to try to force one of the windows in the back.
All right.
Come on. I think maybe we can get in here.
You gonna break it?
Well, we're going to have to.
Wait a minute, Joe.
Huh?
You hear water running? Sounds like it's coming from inside.
Yeah, might be. Well, let's get in there.
You want my gun?
No, I'll use the handcuffs. See if I can knock a hole in the top half of the window here.
Wait a minute. You better use your handkerchief.
Let me borrow yours.
Here.
All right. Now, look. There, that does it. I'll go in and open the door.
Yeah. I'll meet you out in front.
Right. Right?
Yeah, here.
Come on in.
See anything?
No, I haven't looked yet.
Well, this must be the living room.
Yeah.
Everything looks okay here. A little dusty.
Water's running someplace. Wait a minute. Sounds like it's coming from over there. Yeah. Better turn it off.
Yeah. Better call the crime lab, huh?
Yeah. Kind of a rough one, isn't it?
Yeah. Looks like she put up quite a fight. Bloodstains all over the place.
Yeah. Look here.
Huh?
I guess this is what killed her.
Yeah.
Butcher knife.
B.
From a picture and the description that we'd gotten from Winifred Crocker, we identified the victim as the missing woman, Bertha Gillespie. We put in a call for the crime lab. Lee Jones and his crew came out and went over the place. The rest of the restaurant seemed to be in order. There was no sign of a struggle of any kind except in the bathroom where the body had been found. The murder weapon, the butcher knife, was dusted for prints, as was the rest of the restaurant, but the partials that the crime lab came up with were worthless for classification. They would be sufficient, however, for comparison if we caught the killer. A search of the personal effects of the dead woman revealed no further information to aid us in apprehending her killer. The $2,500 that she was known to have had when she was last seen was missing. 6:21, the men from the crime lab finished their investigation on the scene, and the coroner's office was called. They came out and removed the body. They also locked the door and affixed the coroner's seal. 6:45 p.m. Frank and I got back to our car to go down to the office. Now, let's go, Frank.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute.
Hold it, Frank.
Huh? That's the little kid.
You guys the cops?
Yeah, son, what's the matter?
A lot of excitement around here, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Something we can do for you?
No, I figured maybe there's something I can do for you.
What do you mean?
You know who did the murder yet?
Well, why do you say it was a murder, son?
I know who did it.
The working detective has learned by experience that approximately 60% of all homicides are solved within 20 minutes after the arrival of the authorities. Two things are necessary in establishing the identity of a killer: motive and opportunity. In the present instance, we had the motive. $2,500 that the dead woman had withdrawn from her account was missing. However, a month had passed between the time the actual murder had taken place and it had been discovered. Ample time for the killer to cover his tracks. Now, before we could leave the scene, we had a witness who stated that he could name the killer for us. We asked the boy to get into the back seat of the police car while Frank and I questioned him.
What's your name, son?
Gordon, Eric. Kids all call me Gordy.
Uh-huh. How old are you?
7.
Now, what's all this about you being able to tell us who killed Mrs. Gillespie?
I can.
Well, who was it?
Mr. Medina.
You mean the man who owns the building?
Yeah, that's who I mean.
Well, that's a pretty serious charge, Gordon. Do you have any way to prove that?
Guess I really can't prove it, but I know it's true.
Well, how do you know?
I just know, that's all. I seen him there. I just seen him going in and out.
Well, when was this?
3 weeks ago. Maybe a month. But he used to go in and out all the time. Argue with Mrs. Gillespie.
What do you mean by argument?
No, Mr. Medina screamed at Mrs. Gillespie.
Will you ever hear any of these arguments, son?
Sure. My mother's a friend of Mr. Gillespie. We just live a couple blocks away on Dewey Street. I play over here all the time. I've heard Mr. Medina yell at her.
What'd they argue about, son?
Mostly about a lease or something. Seems like Mr. Medina wants Mrs. Gillespie to move out. She didn't want him. Made him pretty sore. You better talk to him. He'll tell you the big thing. About how he used to fight with her.
All right, son. Your mother ever hear any of these fights?
Sure. You ask her. She'll tell you the same way just as I did.
Okay, is she home now?
Should be. Maybe she went out to the store or something. She should be home.
Okay, son. Let's go, Frank.
Yeah.
Guess this is about the most excitement we've had for a long time.
Yeah?
Poor old Mrs. Gillespie. Sure a nice old lady. Real nice.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't hardly anybody that didn't like her. Hardly anybody.
How about Mr. Medina? 7:04 p.m. We drove young Gordon Eric to his home and talked with his mother. She verified his story about the arguments between the victim and Medina. She went on to say that Medina had threatened Mrs. Gillespie, saying that if she wouldn't vacate the premises, he'd take care of her. We had their statements taken, and at 8:40 p.m. we went by Medina's house and asked him to accompany us downtown. He finally agreed, although he was sullen and uncooperative. When we got him down to the office, we checked his name through the record bureau, but we found that he had no criminal record in Los Angeles. His prints were rolled and sent to Holland Stahl for comparison with those found on the murder weapon. While we waited for the results, we talked to him in the squad room.
You're going to regret this, you know that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you're dragging me down here with all these questions. You just wait till my lawyers get here. You'll put a stop to all this foolishness.
You want to tell us what it's all about, Medina?
Tell you about what? How one of my tenants got himself killed. Now listen, I got property all over town, a lot of tenants. I worried about each one of them. I wouldn't have no time to do nothing else.
We understand you had some pretty big arguments with Mrs. Gillespie.
Who said that? Who told you that?
Is it true?
Why, it's a lie. You bring the person in here who said it, and I'll tell them it's a lie right to their face. You just bring them in here.
We can't do that, and you know it.
Yeah, of course you can. You know why? You want me to tell you?
Go ahead, you tell me.
You can't show the person who said that because there ain't no such person. There's anybody in the world who says, I'll argue with Bertha.
Uh-huh. You try to get her to break her lease with you?
That's none of your business. I told you before, I'm not about to answer a lot of questions that aren't none of your concern.
A couple of things we better set you straight on, mister. You're a suspect in a murder. Now, if you're smart, you're going to realize that and give us some straight answers.
You just wait till my lawyer gets here. He'll take care of all this. He's going to fix you for taking my fingerprints. I still don't think you had any right to do that. No right at all.
Oh, yes. Homicide Friday. Yeah, Harlan. How many? All right. Thank you. You want to tell us why you killed her, Medina?
What are you talking about?
That was our fingerprint man. They checked your prints against the ones we found on the murder night. They match perfectly.
Oh. You sure, are they?
They're sure.
All right. I didn't mean to do it. I really didn't mean to, honestly. Just all of a sudden, I got so mad. I was standing there smiling. You should have known this. He had a way of smiling at you, and you knew that there wasn't anything that you could do. You just stand there smiling. I didn't mean to kill her, though. You got to believe that I didn't mean to kill her.
Want to tell us how it happened?
Have you got a cigarette?
Yeah.
There you go. Thanks.
Here's a match.
I had a chance to lease the place to some other people. More money. I tried to get her out.
Go ahead.
I tried to talk to her. I tried to get her to retire. She had enough money. She didn't ever have to worry. All I wanted her to do was to get out. But she wouldn't. She said I'd signed a lease with her and she was going to keep it.
How much difference was there between what she was paying and what the new people were going to give you?
$50 a month.
You killed her for that?
Oh, yeah, you don't understand. You got to try. Now, really, this is important. If you knew Bertha, you'd know why I did it. You see, I went to her. I told her that I'd give her a lease on another piece of property. I'd give it to her at less money. I was trying to be fair. You can see that. I wanted to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that Saturday night, I decided to have it out with her. I went over to talk, tried to convince her. But she wouldn't listen. She just wouldn't listen. I tried everything to make her listen, but she wouldn't. She just stood there and told me that she had the lease and she was going to keep it. She just stood there with that superior smile of hers, like she knew it all. Makes you want to hit her as hard as you could. If you knew her, you'd see what I mean. You'd see.
You take the money?
Yes. I don't know why I did that. Just all of a sudden, I got so mad at her, I picked up the knife, and I killed her. I didn't mean to, honest, I didn't. As soon as I saw her, I was sorry. I was real sorry.
Yeah. Did you turn that water on?
Well, I guess so. You see, I don't remember too good. I washed my hands after I killed her. I remember that. I guess I did leave the water on. I guess I did, yeah.
All right. Do you want to get the stenographer, Frank? Sure. Thanks.
You'd seen the way she thought she was so much better than anybody else, you know.
Is that right?
And sure. All those old hens clucking around all the time, building her up, making her feel superior, real superior.
Mm-hmm.
If she just moved out, if she just let me have the place, it all would have been all right. If she'd just done that. That's a lot of money, you know. $50 a month. That's what I stood to make on the deal.
Yeah.
It was worth it, don't you think? $50 a month without turning a hand? Everybody'd figure that way, wouldn't they? Well, everybody'd think so.
Now, when you get where you're going, you can ask him.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 10th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Virgil Emil Medina was tried and convicted of murder in the second degree and received sentence as prescribed by law. Murder in the second degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of from 5 years to life.
Novak. For hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak. For hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. It's up there in block letters, but down on the waterfront in San Francisco, good printing doesn't mean a thing. You get that on a death certificate. If you're trying to make a living down here, you're not going to have any standing in the community except in a police lineup. I rent boats and do anything else that goes with a weak will and a strong stomach. Well, it's not all bad. Once in a while, something happens that makes you feel good for a moment. Like remembering somebody you kissed a long time ago. But most of the time, you buy your beer the hard way. It works out all right because most people learn to fall in love with a dollar bill and forget about trouble. And everything sounds all right, but sometimes it isn't. Like saying Happy New Year to a lifer. I found that out Wednesday night. I was sitting in the office with a sports page reading about those big tears that Washington senators were shedding when I saw Crockett Odom for the first time. He was a big red-faced guy, and the veins stood out on his face and made a pattern as if he slept on an alligator bag instead of a pillow. He walked over to the desk and started to get quiet in a loud voice.
I want to talk to you, Mr. Novak.
Go ahead, pile up a lead.
My name's Odom. You've heard of Crockett Odom?
I don't get around. Tell me about it.
I'm a lawyer. I want you to watch a client for me. Her name is Wendy Morris.
Is she hard to watch?
You can get bloodshot eyes just looking at her. She drinks a little.
What's a little?
How should I answer?
Any way you like. A pint, a quart. What's a little, Odom? Is she a dipso?
We'll leave it there. She can make a quart of gin disappear while anybody else is looking for the corkscrew.
Mm-hmm. What am I supposed to do? Hide the bottles?
Mr. Novak, a full-grown octopus couldn't do that. I'm afraid this is more serious. It involves her husband.
Let her take a drink and lose him. It'll save you money.
It involves her husband or somebody who's supposed to be her husband.
Oh, she's got a bad memory?
She's a very wealthy girl, Mr. Novak. 5 years ago, she married a man by the name of Stanley Morris. Immediately after, he went into uniform.
You make it sound selfish.
She's been gone ever since, until a month ago. Spent most of that time overseas. The rest in a government hospital.
Yeah?
Now that he's back, something very peculiar has happened. I don't think the man is her husband.
Well, that's a hard part to play. She got any theories?
I think she suspects, too. I don't know why I feel that way. He seems to have picked up where he left off. He knows everything about her. Seems normal, but I'm sure the man is an imposter.
Look, Odom, find a corner and patch up that story. You can't get that nearsighted on 5 years' booze.
You don't understand, Mr. Novak. He was seriously injured. That makes identification hard.
You think Stanley Morris is dead?
I think he died somewhere along the line. This man took his place.
That's a lot of trouble just to share a board and room with a boozer.
Not if he can share it with someone else on her money. That's why I want you to watch her, particularly tonight.
Why tonight? Is Stanley full of temper?
It's been leading up to this. He wants her to go to a gambling club. And I know he's too friendly with the owner of the club. I want you to go along as a friend.
Now, look, mister, I wouldn't go as her friend to a masquerade ball. If you're making a deal, make it out in the open.
Do it your own way, Novak. At $300, earn it any way you can.
Yeah. Where's the club?
She'll take you. Just pick her up at this address.
Mm-hmm. Does she know about it?
She'll understand you. In fact, that's the only risk you run. I told you she drinks most of the time. But when she doesn't, you're the type she gobbles up.
Yeah, I'll bring some cheese instead.
That won't do any good. It's not the flavor she likes, Mr. Novak. It's the crunch. Good night.
When Odom walked out of there, I knew he was the kind of a guy who'd put the wolf at your door if he could get one wholesale. On the way up the pier, he stopped and looked out at the bay as if he intended to do away with it before morning. And then he turned and disappeared around the corner. Well, I sat there for a while, and I went over his story. I was sure it wouldn't hold any more water than a grocer holds, but I had no way of checking. Finally, about 7 o'clock, I closed the office, and I went by the address he gave me. It was a modernistic apartment up on Telegraph Hill, one of those places where they let a guy out of a basement long enough to paint murals on the front. This one had a guy waving a blonde wig in front of a tired old monk named Faust. Wendy Morris' apartment was up on the second floor, and when I rang the buzzer, she opened the door with a nice, easy motion, like a cat getting ready to eat its young. I could see right away what Odom was talking about. If you ever build a house, you'd want somebody like her in the blueprint. She leaned against the doorway, and she was wearing a crepe evening gown that was supposed to let you know that nature had given her a square deal. She didn't say anything at first. She just kept fingering her glass and looking at you as if you knew she was full of gin and comfort.
It makes a nice rattle. Are you Mr. Novak?
Yeah, I rattle, too. Invite me in.
I bet you do. Come in.
Yeah.
So you all paid to like me. Will the gin help, Mr. Novak?
Yeah.
Sit down. I'll get some soda.
No, this will do.
What did Crockett tell you?
He said you got thirsty.
Did he mention men? Crockett thinks they're related. His sole confession of the medical profession.
He mentioned your husband. Where is he?
I thought that was the problem.
Sounds phony. There must be a way to spot old husbands.
How?
I wouldn't know. Do you think Stanley Morris is dead?
I don't know, Mr. Novak.
Do you care either way?
As long as I'm safe, no. Stanley was no bargain.
Why'd you marry him?
I don't know. I suppose I confused the hangover with love.
Well, he sounds exciting.
About as lively as a dish rag in a steam bath. It doesn't make any difference now, Mr. Novak. I'm frightened. You've got to help me.
You're in for $300, that's all. Where is this gambling joint?
Out on Gary Boulevard. It's called the Mother Lode. The sense of humor belongs to Frankie Fannin.
Is he funny enough to deal with Stanley?
I don't know. Stanley's been out there every night for 2 weeks. Now he's forcing me to go. There must be a reason.
There must be a reason for what?
Don't tempt me, Stanley. This is Mr. Novak, my husband.
I never heard of you, Novak.
You got me worried.
He's a friend of mine.
What does he do, drive a beer truck?
My husband is being subtle, Mr. Novak. He's going with us, Dan.
We don't know anybody well enough to take him with us.
You don't have to feel burdened. I'll take him.
Aren't you wearing out that leash?
Now, look, mister, I'm here on a straight deal. Cash and carry, and your credit's through. From now on, that mouth of yours costs you dough.
Go ahead and pout, Dan. You look better with your lips turned in.
All right, if you like and he goes, I'll have to make another reservation. Hand me the phone, Novak.
Yeah. Here.
Thanks. Let's go, Wendy. Your friend backed out.
I hope they got a good price for my head, because when I started down, shoulder blades were the best I could do for height. I rolled over once, and then I stretched out on the floor as hard as a piece of chewing gum on the theater seat. I don't know how long I chased that woman in the bathing suit. Must have been about an hour when the phone began to ring. I tried to get up once or twice, but I couldn't get the boxcar off my chest, and the phone kept ringing like a piece of crystal in a hailstorm. I finally made a ladder out of my knees and got to the phone. Yeah.
How's your head?
It's a little right. What's on your mind?
Something's gone wrong. I have to meet you.
Not at these prices.
I just got a message from Crockett Odom. I'm leaving now. I want you to meet me in room 314 of the Galbraith Hotel.
Where is it?
Third rate trap on Powell Street. It's important. Will you come?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry about your hair. I'll have to rub the bruise for you.
Wait till I get there. You can rub one of your own. She was right about that hotel. In a good season, they couldn't have drawn transient mice. I got there about 9:45. I rode up to room 314. There was nobody there. So I sat down and started to wait. The floor was quiet, except down at the end of the hall, somebody was playing a phonograph record. The music was thin but loud, and I knew they were old records, way back when this bird Bix was a man instead of a memory. It stopped after a while, and I looked at my watch. It was after 10, so I left the hotel and I went out to the gambling joint. I toured the room, but I couldn't find Wendy or Stan. I got a guy at the window, and he remembered somebody like Wendy, so I asked about her. He just pointed over at Frankie Fannin's office and went on making change. I crossed over and knocked at the door. The guy that opened it had a face like 3 pounds of warm putty. It was moist and pink, and he got the idea they put the color in with a spray gun. And if his heart was made of the same stuff, they drained the oil out first.
Yeah?
My name's Novak.
Who's arguing?
I want to talk to you.
Yeah?
Where's Wendy Morris?
I don't know.
She was in here tonight.
It's a jail term. I don't follow women home.
Am I supposed to buy that?
Look, Junior, I don't care whether you live or die. I haven't seen her.
How about her husband?
He owes me dough.
What else?
Ask his wife. He's an IOU to me. I don't know what you're doing here, but you better make your point fast.
Now, look, Fannin, if you got a party, I don't want to blow out the candles, but I want some answers.
Yeah?
She got boosted in here tonight. Why?
I brought her in for word games. I told her if her husband didn't square his fill, I'd work him into hamburgers.
Yeah?
She offered to bring the buns. Now, that's all the talk you get, mister. Tip the girl on your way out. I need the money. Come in.
Choose up and tell me which one's Novak.
I am. What's on your mind?
And the other guy's Lucky. I'm Craig from Homicide.
Where's Hellman?
He's got a mouth full of canary, Novak.
That's right. I just left room 314 of the Galbraith Hotel.
So did I.
2 of us made it then. The girl didn't.
Novak, he's trying to tell you Wendy Morris is dead.
How do you know she's dead?
It's the only reason cops drew.
You want to see her, Novak?
No.
he was better alive.
Come on down anyway. Maybe I didn't try hard enough.
When I walked out of there, I felt like a voice teacher with adenoids. Whoever Craig was, he was smart, and he tagged all the bases because as we moved through the lobby, he motioned to me, and the desk clerk nodded. Well, I didn't worry about that desk clerk because he hadn't said no for years. But when we got to room 314, I needed China Passage. There were 3 or 4 of Craig's men grouped along the dim hall like dirty shadows, and inside, Wendy Morris was stretched out looking in the wrong direction. There was a white sheet draped over, and I wondered where the hotel had borrowed that, but Craig wanted to talk.
You must have had a big beef, Novak.
Sorry, we were friends.
Oh, that was fun.
I was supposed to meet her here. She didn't show.
The desk clerk says she did.
Not while I was here. I was in that gambling joint by 10:30.
The desk clerk says you asked about Wendy Morris. Then you came up here and killed her. That's the way I'm going to book you.
Check on her husband. You can fit him in near the top of the list.
She got one? It's a lot of blonde hair to keep indoors.
Huh?
Good blondes run like salmon.
Wait a minute, Craig. Give me that sheet. Well.
Yeah?
Craig, you better not book me for Wendy Morris.
Huh?
If you do, you'll mix up all the on-duty angels because somebody killed the wrong woman. This isn't Wendy Morris.
You must be wrong. How do you know?
How does anybody know? They look different. They got different personalities. Take your pick, Craig, but somebody got the wrong woman.
Take another look.
I don't need another. With Wendy, the first look's for names and faces.
Yeah?
If you take a second look, mister, it's for love. I guess Craig likes to pick his dead because when he found out the woman on the floor was somebody else, he started to shake a little and his mouth hung open like a broken screen door. I didn't blame him much. I tried to think back and piece it together, but it wouldn't work out. It almost made sense, like the broken phrases of an old conversation, but not enough of it came back, and, well, there was still something missing. What happened to Wendy Morris, and how about this girl on the floor? Where did she get her drag with heaven? I looked down at her again. She was pretty, if you like quiet girls. She had a vacant look in her eyes as if the brains had checked out without letting her know. And the color was starting to leave her face. The light was bad, and you had to look close to see her skin. There were little splotches of pink, and the rest was white, like shrimp that hadn't been boiled long enough. Craig was worried, and that's something he couldn't hide.
Who is she, Novak?
I don't know, Craig. We didn't meet her soon enough to know. You should have checked.
The hotel register says Wendy Morris.
Who read it for you? Oh, you're tough, Craig. I'll bet you got the wino scared stiff.
Keep on talking. I'll get you some help. Come on in. He wants to make a statement. On the bed, Novak.
Where'd you get your boys, Craig? They look tired.
On the bed, Novak. All right, Joe, take his arm.
Yeah.
The other two, hold his head back against the bed.
Okay.
Where's Wendy Morris, Novak?
I don't know, Copper. You sure you're from homicide?
So it's against the law. Don't tell anybody. Now make a statement, Novak.
Yeah. Here's a statement about you, Craig.
We'll find out downtown. You can save some teeth. Where's the other girl?
I don't know.
Hold him up. Yeah. Where's Wendy Morris?
Craig, you can go.
Put his head against the bed.
It's for exercise now, Craig.
All right, he's not a season pass. We don't have to hang on to him.
Craig's boys left me hanging on the foot of the bed with somebody's dirty towel and an old garter the maid forgot to pick up last month. I felt my way down to the lobby and into the street, and most of the time, one question kept going through my mind. Craig was going to run me in before. Why had he changed his mind? Well, I found out when I started to turn the corner. Craig had a tail on me, and he was real hard to spot, like a red Nash at the top of the mark. He moved out from under a light near the pool room on the corner, and I watched him in the windows as we walked along. After a while, I quit worrying about him because I knew in a pinch he couldn't follow a conversation with a printed form. Well, I had a lot of ground to cover, so I looked up Jocko Madigan. He's a good guy, and he was a smart one, too. Until he found out if your eyes get red enough, you don't need rose-colored glasses. I finally found him at the cafe house, as tight as a tennis racket in the rain.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay.
Jocko, I want to talk to you.
Some belated Christmas carols, Patsy. The piano player quit and everybody else dropped out, so I'm doing it a cappella by myself.
All right, Jocko.
Christmas eluded me, Patsy. I got up through Christmas Eve, and then I seem to have missed Christmas entirely. Did they hold it this year?
Well, it wouldn't happen if you'd get up in the morning.
I refuse to get up early, Patsy. I refuse to get up in the morning until the streets have been aired. The only things that should be around at that hour are peasants and a bunch of random dew.
Jocko, will you listen? I'm in trouble.
I'm not surprised, because you're a counterfeit, Patsy. You're a piece of plate in a room full of sterling. You're like some of the rest of these people, running around in a hurry.
Jocko, please.
Just plunging into anything. Look at the papers. Some people have spent years shooting a rocket 110 miles into the air. What's the use?
Will you listen?
What's the use? When you get 110 miles up, all you can do is turn around and come on back down again. We're killing time 110 miles in the air instead of learning to spend it down here.
All right.
Oh, it's depressing, Patsy. Running around in a frenzy like a rooster in a barnyard full of ducks. I'm ready to take to drink.
Are you all through, Jocko?
Yes. Humanity's a tough life. What kind of trouble?
I bought a murder rap for $300.
Well, if it's a bargain, why complain? Who's dead?
I don't know who she is. Homicide found her in a hotel on Powell Street. I tagged by before the murder.
Serves her right. If I were a woman, I wouldn't trust you in the middle of Stanford Stadium with 80,000 people.
It was the wrong woman. It was supposed to be a gal named Wendy Morris, but she didn't show.
Oh, that was shrewd of her.
I was hired by a lawyer named Crockett Odom to watch her.
Why?
She's a dipso.
She must have some faults.
Odom suspects her husband. He was in uniform, and now that he's back, Odom figures he's a fraud out for the girl's money.
Can't the girl tell the difference?
She's not sure.
I don't think she was observant.
Now, look, this is a big story, Jocko. I can't fill in all the holes. You got to help me. I want you to check on Crockett Odom, will you?
I'll need some money.
Oh, you'll booze it away. Now, hurry, Jocko. If you need money, get a job.
Oh, I can't go to work, Patsy. I'm a victim of my own conscience.
Yeah?
I'm stuck with a dilemma. I'm willing to go to work, but I work too cheaply. And on the other hand, I'll not support slave labor. So it's morally impossible for me to go to work. Good night, lover.
It was about 11:30 when I left Jocko, and the two beatings began to catch up with me. I had enough headache to pass out to a Bay Meadows crowd on a bad day. The tail behind me began to look tired, so I dropped by headquarters to give him a rest. I asked for the head of homicide, but the desk told me that Hellman was on his honeymoon, and they kind of laughed when they said it, as if they thought he got the girl there on a bench warrant. All they'd done at headquarters was identify the dead woman. Her name was Emily Van Kirk, and she had no record. I dropped by the hotel, and the first break showed down there. The desk clerk knew about Emily Van Kirk. He'd mixed the rooms up, and he'd put Wendy in the wrong one. That meant that maybe she was at the hotel after all. It also meant that Emily was in the clear. She was just a girl on her way to Seattle, and she got a longer ride than she paid for. I called Wendy's, but I couldn't get an answer, so I dropped by my place to wait for Jocko. Stanley Morris was there, chewing his fingernails. When I walked in, he was up to the wristwatch.
Mr. Novak, where's my wife? You're hiding her.
She's good enough to hide, but this isn't the night.
But where is she? She must have gone to you after that hotel.
How do you know she was there? Did you drop by, too?
Doesn't make any difference.
Well, it makes a big difference to me. We're all out of phones. Now tell me about that hotel.
Crockett Odom told me to come there.
Why?
I don't know. I was supposed to be there at 10:30. It was some kind of a crazy scheme.
Was the dead girl mixed up in one?
Sorry, it wasn't Wendy. Odom tried to break up this marriage. I wish he had.
You sound feeble, mister.
You don't know her the way I do. She's a cold-blooded animal. The only cold-blooded animal that doesn't bear fur.
You're building a case.
I don't know what'd have her around. I suppose you would. There's a certain localized beauty you'd go for, but nobody else would have her. They'd find out what she is, a puff adder with a good figure.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Huh?
We got company. Somebody's coming in the door. Watch it. There goes the light.
Stand up.
He couldn't have died any faster with a priority. I got to the door and threw on the light switch, but whoever it was had gone and the hall was dark. When I got back to Stan, he was lying there like a well-trained sponge. He wasn't a good enough guy to bleed in the living room, so I dragged him into the kitchen and left by the back way. I had to get word to Jocko, so I left a message at his place telling him to get in touch with me at Wendy's. I went up there to sit on her doorstep and wait if it took all night. I wasn't going to freeze, though, because she opened the door as soon as I knocked. She was still wearing that crepe gown, and she was yawning and stretching her arms. Oh, you might not want to bring her home to Mother, but you'd want to start anyway.
Do you always look at women this way, Patsy? I feel like Eve.
And I'll bet you get a kitchen full of apples. Do I argue or come in?
You may argue, but do it in here.
Yeah. When'd you get back?
Why?
Somebody just killed Stan.
If you're sure, the drinks are on me.
He didn't like you either.
We'd be even if he had anything to start with. Don't ever marry, Patsy.
Now, look, lady, I'm nursing a murder rap, and I need some answers. Was Stan a phony?
He's the same guy I married, if that's what you mean.
You weren't sure 4 hours ago.
I wanted an answer then.
What kind?
You're too far ahead, Patsy. Come to a trot and have a drink.
Lady, has anybody ever told you about a slow burn? I got one now.
I'll bet you have, darling.
Oh, this room isn't big enough for games, baby.
Give me a Patsy.
Go find a guy with a bag of wild oats.
Stop shadow boxing, Patsy.
All right, baby.
Patsy.
That's what makes the poor so happy. They don't have phones. Yeah.
Patsy, this is Jocko.
What'd you find out?
Crockett Odom is in love with Wendy Morris.
Does it go both ways?
Well, different rate of exchange. I got something else, too.
Yeah?
Her will is a big temptation.
Go ahead.
If she bows out, all the dough goes to her husband. Maybe the guy is a fraud.
Oh, he's going to have it straightened out. What else?
The funny part of the will.
Uh-huh.
If they're both dead, all the dough goes to Crockett Odom. You better see him in a hurry.
Well, that doesn't make sense. If he killed her and got all that dough, it'd cost him that much to get another like her.
Maybe not.
Oh, you haven't seen her, Jocko. He wouldn't pass that up. She's nice and speedy.
Oh, I can explain that. When you're over 50, you don't mind the speed. It's the freewheeling you hate to think about.
When Jocko hung up, I knew we had a good pair of seats. That story of Stan's finally made sense. There was only one reason why he could have been called there at 10:30, and for the first time, I tumbled why Craig had let me go back in that hotel room. Everything was right in place like a mixmaster in a bride's kitchen. I dropped by headquarters and left a note, and then the girl and I ran into Craig down at the desk. I briefed him on what had happened, and we rode up to Crockett Odom's apartment. When we got to the living room, things turned stormy.
Hello, Novak. It's too late to start a party.
Oh, you're going to like this one, Odom.
That's right, darling. You'll love it. This is Craig from Homicide.
He wants you for murder.
It doesn't sound right, Craig.
Novak's calling it. See him.
I talked to Stan before he died. He tipped your mitt, Crockett.
He couldn't tip a water glass.
He was smart enough to know you sent for him. That's why he didn't show at 10:30.
You better have it in writing.
No, I don't need it that way. I got Craig. He won't let you out that easy.
What's he talking about, Craig?
Homicide will shake him down too fast. You're with the walking dead now, Craig. I left a note. They know you killed the girl.
Are you crazy, Craig, to come up here?
I can't argue now. He's too lucky, Odom.
I got all sevens tonight, Craig. Crockett Odom sold you bad goods. He did everything wrong.
Thanks, Odom. I'm going to leave you, but don't let the bag get too heavy.
Now, wait a minute, Craig. You're not going to let me hang for this.
You won't. They burn in this state.
Stay away from that door, Craig.
Sorry, Odom. You dealt me in, but I got bad cards. I want to see you play them alone.
Can you get by this gun?
I'll make a try. Hang on to your skin. Give me a hand, Novak.
Yeah, anything to help you die. Here.
How's Odom?
He'll keep.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Novak. What'd I do wrong?
Everything. But mostly when you let me go up in that hotel room.
Yeah. I should have pinched you then. I'm a tender-hearted guy.
You're a bum, Craig. I can move you down a step lower even. You're a liar. I checked. You're not working for the city. They never heard of you downtown.
I'm not going to make it, Novak. Lay my head down.
Yeah. I'll put it down easy. Goodbye, Craig. I hope you have a long night.
If Craig made the morning, he had to cheat. They patched up Odom and got most of the story out of him. Jocko was right. Odom got tired of chasing the girl and went after the money instead. He drummed up that phony story to plant a reason for a quarrel, and then he tried to pay it off in that hotel room. He offered a cut to Craig for the heavy-duty work. Wendy was supposed to show up at 10:15. Craig would kill her and wait. When Stan showed up at 10:30, Craig was supposed to stage a fight and kill him. That way, he'd be in the clear, and so would Odom. They'd say it was a husband and wife quarrel, and Craig had a phony shield to back him up. Craig dreamed up that story about being a cop. But the whole scheme went haywire when the desk clerk mixed up the rooms. Craig killed the wrong woman, and Stan got there late. That's why he got scared when it turned out to be somebody else, so he let me go. Odom was afraid that Stan had showed up and knew the story, so he had a ticket right away. The guy who tailed me was handy for that. When did I first tumble to something wrong? When I was sure that Crockett Odom had told a lie. He said the girl was a dipso, but when I got there, she was drinking soda with her whiskey. And a good dipso won't waste that much time. Well, it worked out all right. Hellman was on his honeymoon, so he didn't have any questions. I'll bet his wife did.
Broadcasting Company for listeners in the United States and rebroadcast for our men and women overseas. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.